Go.
Welcome to Dwarven Forge Live. This is On the Anvil, episode 66.
I think that's it. Hang on. I think that's it. Actually.
Episode 66. This is Deborah and Dragon, I called it on Twitter. This is welcome to On the Anvil. This is the show where we go behind the scenes here at Dwarven Forge. We lift up the curtain, let you see what we're thinking about, what we're working on, what we're talking about, and in this case, who we're hanging out with. We're going to go through all of it. Mostly we're going to hang out for 2 hours, and we're going to drink a cider, which I need to open, and talk about all sorts of geeky things and have a good time.
All right.
I am Nate, and I'm joined here from the battle station right across the room by Chris London.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey. So what's going on tonight, Chris? What do we? Is anything happening?
Are
we alone in here?
We're not alone in here. Actually, we'll go ahead and introduce our guest right now. We're being joined by.
Is she on screen? Is anybody?
She's not currently. I'm about to switch over to it right now.
I can't see the. I don't know what the screen looks like.
I was about to play her in. Right. It's because we have to do. It's a whole thing with us doing Zoom. Don't worry about it.
We're a very buttoned up show that doesn't have any tech issues ever. So,
no, and none of this was done in the last hour.
Production caliber.
All right. But yeah, so I'd like to introduce you all to fantastic, accomplished actress, DM, 1,000 other things, because everybody who works in this space does way too many things. Deborah and Woll.
Woo!
Hello.
Hello.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
We're super excited to have you on.
I'm not in outer space. I'm sorry. I had to zoom in from Earth.
On
Is
Zoom.
that what it's called, Zoom?
On Zoom.
See what she did there?
Yeah.
We're gonna have a counter. How many? If you can rack up. Should we give away? If she can, what's a hard threshold of puns? If you
God,
can
I'm not that good at them.
Okay. I'd say, can we do an extra
friends that are
giveaway?
bad.
If you can do 20 puns in the next hour, we do an extra giveaway for the audience.
20 puns? That's a pun every 3 minutes, right? Oh no.
Well, they say, they say going 7 days without a pun makes 1 week. So not that I'm counting.
Right. So how about this?
Okay.
I'll do that if it's joint. You have to. help
fair,
me.
fair.
You and Chris, all three of us together.
Okay.
We make it to 20 in the hour.
Teamwork. I like this.
That significantly increases the odds, honestly.
It does. Well, good, because I am not as good at it as one would assume.
Well, I've been training for dad jokes my whole life, so
That's good.
Yeah.
I do like dad jokes or bad jokes.
Whoa,
but they don't
bad.
come naturally to me. So bad they're good.
Okay, I could say it. So that was my saying. Speaking of bad jokes, so you have something really exciting going on. That's what we had you on here to talk about Cardinal Adventures a little bit.
Yeah.
And, actually, before we do it, let's tell people. So we're gonna hang out with Deborah. Do we call you Deborah? Do we call you Deb? D-Dubs? What's your
Anything but
D-dubs?
Debbie. D-dubs
Yeah.
is totally, I use
didn't
that
just
for
make
a
that
lot
up.
of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did not just make that up. D-dubs is totally something I use.
Chris is the scenes behind the scene.
He's so excited about that.
There's a pun in there somewhere, I'm sure.
Is there a D-dubs pun?
So we're gonna hang out for about an hour, and then we're gonna do a giveaway for anybody that's new that's watching. We're gonna give away a $50 Dwarven Forge gift card. We're gonna need a secret word for that. So if there's a cool word that comes up along the way, keep your ears open. That doesn't sound. And then we're gonna look at some. We'll say goodbye to not Debbie, and look at some Wildlands pieces. We got our dragon. It's really exciting. It's our first dragon.
Yeah, first time doing a dragon.
There's no light. You can't see.
You're also holding it to Deb's camera.
Yeah, I was showing her because
You're showing me.
Yeah.
That's fair. Everybody else watching
But
has probably
I
already seen it.
I was showing her a completely dark silhouette of nothing.
It was.
But what a silhouette!
It was very impressive.
I just want a quick announcement. We've maxed out a level 5 hype train already.
Level 5
so thank
hype
you.
train.
Yeah, so thank you for all the gift subs, everybody.
Woo!
It lets you all use all the fun emotes that we had Letitia bust out like a year ago.
And we have some new. Don't we have some new ones in the works? Or no?
So
The
we've
dwarf-
put a
the
bunch more
dwarf-
on the Discord. We have room for a lot more on the Discord, and recently I think it was Tellurian, has been making a bunch of. He took all the shields that we have on the forums for each Kickstarter.
Made them into.
He made emotes for each of the Kickstarter shields, including like example ones for reliquaries and cities 2 and sci-fi.
See, we have the craftiest community. Like people make the coolest stuff. It warms my heart. But before we dive into the hard-hitting questions about just what are these Cardinal Adventures, we have some news, right?
We do. We have a fair amount of news. We're going to try to get through it very quickly so we don't take up any of our as much of our time as possible. So let's go ahead and just get into the part that's probably gonna surprise Deborah a little bit.
I don't know when it's up though because I can't see.
Oh, it's going now. Go. News. Like you ever know.
It's the news. That's our sound effects. We have a very high sound effects budget.
So I don't know when to stop, as if you ever know when to stop.
I'm untethered this as opposed to my normal very strict tether.
Usually we're super buttoned up.
So what's in the news, Chris?
So we got a bunch of friends to shout out, and we also got a couple just quick news items that are Dwarven Forge specific. We got a lot of friends. We got a lot of friends doing really cool stuff right now. I mean, one, that's why we have you on the show right now. But also, like, outside of that, we've got like a lot of friends doing Kickstarters.
A lot of good friends, yeah.
So let's shout those things out first. The first thing is, if you guys remember us, a couple times we've talked about this over the last month or so. Our friends at Corridor Digital reached out to us a while ago, and about they wanted to do this project where they would 3D scan our terrain and do a Dungeons and Dragons show where they were green screening the actors into the terrain to like do stuff.
Not at all ambitious, right? Just like a pretty simple. Like...
Yeah, not ambitious at all. So it was a 9-month production cycle to make this season.
Turns out it was they've bitten off a lot.
And it's like a lot. Like they put a lot of effort into this. They were saying they recorded like 32 hours of D&D and they broke it down into 8 1-hour long episodes where it cuts between them like playing around the table and then cuts to like cinematic shots. And they've also got like really nice shots of them like moving minis on the table and stuff. And
well, they took all of our stuff, scanned it into 3D, built it then in 3D, and then could project their actors. Had the 3D environment projected behind the actors moving with the camera. It's really
bonkers.
Wild.
They had
all
like
to play D&D. Like
they had like a behind the scenes video of like putting together like one of those shots, and it was wild. So the first episode of that came out today, and it's currently on their YouTube channel.
Check it out.
And so I put the link into the chat right there if you're curious about that. The rest of it is going to be on their site. You need to buy a membership to watch it, but the second episode is out on the site as well today. So the first 2 episodes are up now, and then I think they're doing an episode weekly until all 8 of them are uploaded. They're a bunch of really cool guys. It was fun working with them. Like Sam was super nice and very just ambitious. It's a lot of the same energy that like we feel
ambitious geeks trying to do nerdy projects.
It's a lot of the same energy that we kind of feel like we have here, where we want to do like the highest possible level of this idea that we had.
Well, and we'll sort of giddily jump into an unknown pool of creativity. Like, oh yeah, we're gonna go in this thing, and be like, wait, we gotta learn how to swim. I didn't realize how big this is. Wait,
doing something nobody's done before.
Yeah,
it's a cool thing. And then outside of that,
who else has got stuff?
Our friends Mike Shea, Sly Flourish. If you're familiar with his Lazy DMs books, he recently has another one of those out. That Kickstarter just went up. I think he got like
yesterday.
He got like 100,000 in the first day, something like that.
Did 100K in the first day. For a book on DM prep.
Wow.
I
love this community. That is so cool.
Right? Like
support each other. That's so great.
Especially because he puts out a ton of really good free content for the community. He gives out. He's at all the conventions. He's a super nice guy. He's done stuff like that. He's the best. I
love it.
It's really
well deserved.
If you're not familiar with his work, if anybody in chat's not familiar with his work, generally what the Lazy DM stuff is it's like if you're a DM and you've ever had the thing where it's like, oh, I've got a session in a couple hours and I don't like how am I gonna make this like interesting. It's just full of like tips and tables and ways to like come up with a really interesting session in a short amount of time. Like not
maximize your prep. Focus on what's going to be the highest value prep that you can do that will lead to the sort of the best sessions. And it's such good advice. So I'm really excited for this.
And then
congrats, Mike. 100K in day one. Woo!
Yeah, he's doing really well for himself. It's really cool to see him like.
So well deserved.
Yeah. Everybody on our Discord like talks about him all because our audience is like DMs, so like they all like use his stuff. Let's see, and one of our friends that runs Wild Earth Dice. We talked about this last week as well. Their Cosmic Collection just came out, which is a set of dice that are all trying to feel like space themes and stuff like that.
We can show them again after the break when we look at reliquaries. I didn't bring them in, but really beautiful handmade dice.
Yeah. To like a one person doing most of the work with a couple of his friends helping out with shipping and stuff. Working out of Britain, very very nice looking dice. I backed his first Kickstarter. I like this one a lot.
Super hardworking, good artist.
Yeah.
Cool dice. They did like 60K in a week already or something. They're doing really well. He said a bunch of folks came over from last week's stream and backed. So thank you guys for spreading the love around.
And I think he recently, a couple days ago, put out an update saying like, so we hit all of my stretch goals and unlocked like all the bonus designs.
All the stretch goals are gone now.
Yeah, so he's trying to think about like what else there is. There are designs in there that I hadn't seen before, and
so cool.
Yeah.
That's what we say. Say it again. Like Kickstarter, being able to crowdfund an idea and having the gaming community be so strong that you can put a wild idea out there and people come and say yes, like do it. We're throw some money, like magic.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And then the last one, our friends at Eldritch Foundry recently started a Kickstarter for Orc and Satyr minis.
Resin or STL, you can print them at home or you can get the little resin ones. Beautiful, talented artists, same thing. And they need some love. They're struggling. They got about 10K of funding. I mean, that's all they needed to fund, but like there's a bunch of cool stretch goals, bits, packs where you can get weapons and things and like all this good stuff. Super talented artists and big DF supporters. And they've given us so many free minis. They did, Eldritch Foundry did for your Lost Odyssey.
Yeah. I think so,
That was like 2 years
Long time ago now, but yeah. They're often a supporter for a lot of different things. So I'm sure I've worked with them more than just that, but yeah, they're fantastic.
They're good folks.
Yeah. And then really quick, let's just run through a couple key dates, stuff that we're doing, and this shouldn't take more than a minute or two.
Super fast. Oh, I think I can power move it. You ready?
Yeah, go for it.
Wildlands, not on the boat yet. It's supposed to be booked. It's booked for Saturday. Hopefully it'll be on the boat. We'll see. We had to move from a 40-foot container to 2 20-foot containers back to a 40-foot container. Hopefully we'll get on the boat and be here in November. We'll see. We have the restock is arriving, should be in 2 weeks. The reliquaries, like this page, are, the project pre-launch page is up. Go follow our project, the pre-launch page on Kickstarter, so we'll notify you on launch. Chris will put the link in chat. And the reliquaries landing page on dwarvenforge.com/reliquaries. That will be updated on Friday, and then every week thereafter on Fridays until launch. We're launching a Kickstarter on November 3rd, so we're pretty excited. Yay. Is that it? Did I get them all? From memory?
I'm pretty sure that was all of them. Let me check real quick.
All right, let's go into
one more thing. One more thing. Most likely, there is not going to be an On the Anvil next week. We're
shooting.
We're having to film a bunch of stuff, and we don't want to risk not getting it all done on Wednesday.
Because we're usually so prepared and ready to go as soon as airtime is.
Yeah.
Deb will attest. We set up the cameras pointed at the ceiling. There's like.
Yeah. Hobby Hangs should still be happening, though. We're going to be doing Hobby Hangs remote until the Kickstarter, most likely, just because the production room is being used for a lot until we launch. Should be everything.
So, speaking of cool people doing cool stuff, you're doing like professional. I hate the term professional in dungeon mastering, right? Because it's like everybody's if you're running a game, you're a professional dungeon master. Right?
Well, I mean, I feel like, professional would be, I suppose, for profit, but amateur is actually a much more lovely word, because amateur is ama, for the love of it, which sounds much more romantic and wonderful, doesn't it?
Is that really?
Yeah,
that's where it comes from?
The root of it is ama, for the love.
The best.
Huh.
So yeah, so amateurs do it for the love, professionals do it for the profit. However, you can
Because
do
people make a
both.
lot of money DMing. You make, people.
Well, it is.
You
It's
make
one of
a
those things
ton
where
of cash.
it is a lot of work, especially if you are writing it yourself, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've always mostly been an amateur DM, and then little bits here doing professional dungeon mastering, but usually for a stream or for a show. This is the first time where I was like, I have a couple of adventures that I'd really like to be able to share with anyone who wants to play, not just people that I hire to be on a series. So yeah, we got the idea. Let's go ahead and do sort of a series. So we're calling it Cardinal Adventures. It's a 4-part series. So I've written 4 distinct one-shot adventures based on the 4 cardinal directions. So there's north, south, east, and west. They are one-shots, but they are also related. So you can choose to play just one of them if you want to come and join us for just one. You could do 2, you could do 3, or if you do all 4, you'll have fun little hints and threads that will link to all the other ones, which is pretty cool.
Ooh, fun Easter eggs along the way.
Yes, exactly.
So is it, and it's on Demiplane, right?
Yeah, so I sort of was working with Demiplane to get it done, because I think for me, the hardest part of doing something like this is scheduling and working out how to do everything safely and so forth. And they were so great and sort of helped me make that happen in a way that was doable for me.
Well, scheduling's the bane of D&D everywhere. So like.
Oh my goodness, it is. And it was still hard, even with the help that I got there. You should see my spreadsheet that I made with the conditional highlighting. I had a lot of fun on numbers. So yeah,
spreadsheets make Dwarven Forge run. Like we are, like, for a bunch of artists,
though.
Spreadsheets everywhere.
Oh yeah, it gets really, like, I get kind of tingly and excited whenever I look at my spreadsheets.
Does the does the order that you do the adventures in change the outcome of the story at all, or?
It can certainly affect how the choices you make going forward. So, because in each adventure you potentially will learn things that could help you in other adventures. If you do north first, you might have a different experience on south. But if you do south first and then go to north, you might shift how you experience north. So depending on how you choose to play, you can have a different experience from someone else who took another route. So yeah, I think that's a really fun piece of it. That was an exciting challenge of how to create an adventure that could be played in any order.
How is it self-contained, but also referential to all the others in an interesting way that, like.
Exactly. And give a leg up to people who do want to play more than one, so that you feel incentivized to do that. And it also means the equipment that you find. So if you find special magic items or money or anything in one adventure, you can take that, use it, bring it to the next one.
What level are the characters?
4th level.
Nice.
I really like low to mid-level adventures. It doesn't mean I won't hit you with hard stuff. My main thing is I want your brain and your ideas to be what wins you the adventure, rather than high math.
Yep.
So I would rather put tiny little squishy adventurers up against a terrifying dragon that could kill them in one fell swoop, but have their creativity and ingenuity save the day.
Well, it's scarier. I feel like the stakes feel higher when you're lower level.
Yeah.
You feel more mortal. Like when you get to 10th level and stuff, you're not so nervous.
Yeah.
Like, but when you're down in those early single digits, it's like.
And you have to think a little outside the box, I think. And also, the higher you get, also, and the more like extra turns, the turns get longer.
Yep.
The more spell slots you have, the more sort of intuitive you have to be with the game. And I wanted this to be friendly to newer players as well. So even if you'd never played D&D before, I wanted it to be high enough that you had some cool stuff to do, but low enough that if this was your first game, you could really jump in there. So I like 4th level because you're essentially 3rd level, but with some extra boosts in HP and ability.
Another round of hit points.
That is one of the interesting things. You hear people talk a lot about, like, where the game is best at, and there's like this general consensus that, like, like mid, like you want to be past the first couple levels because you want to have your subclasses, but when you get to like over 15th, it's kind of like
3
to 7 is that like sweet
spot for you
somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
I agree. I think
So how do people? So anybody can sign up and play. They have to pay, but you can play. How does it work?
To start, we have a link to a free portal in Demiplane. So if you're just interested and you want to come check it out and see what it's all about, you can go to that free link. We'll have it for you at Demiplane. That way it has all the information. You can talk with the other players. And if I also am accepting groups. So if you have friends that you want to play a game with, you can just let me know.
How big a party? 5?
So I'm capping at 5 to 6 players, so minimum 5, maximum 6. Again, if you're paying for a game, I don't want there to be 8, 9 players and you speak once a half an hour. I want it to feel really special for you, so that you and your team have a lot of time and can really a relaxed game in that way.
4 to 5 is the perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect
So, and
number.
I'm allowing 6, a capping for that. But yeah, so for me, 5 to 6 is sort of where we're at. So if you're a little less than that, that's fine. I'll just add some solo players to your game. So I should mention it's $200 per player per game. But again, you can do just one of them. Also, once you're in a portal, I'm your DM, so we can schedule the next game for 2 months if you'd like. I'm trying to be I want everyone who wants to play to be able to. So I'm trying to be as flexible as I can.
Are you worried that how many sessions for each direction?
Well,
are
I
you
should
gonna do?
I should say to start out, we've already announced North, and it is sold out.
How
Yay!
fast did you sell out?
About 36 hours. It went very quickly, which was hugely gratifying. I mean, little 12-year-old nerd Deb feels so lovely and validated. It really was meaningful to me that it went so well.
People came to the party. You're like,
they did.
Hey, I'm gonna.
They
if
came.
you want it, like.
And they were excited, and everyone's been so lovely. And I have a day job as well, and so people have been really flexible about, oh no, my shoot schedule shifted or something. Can we change a date? And so people have been really great about it.
How many sessions for North?
So right now in North, I advertised 4. I had enough interest that I actually added 2 more, so we have 6 sessions.
Wait, so you sold out and added more and sold those
and
out?
Added more. So up to 6 sessions of North. So I will be starting South, or I will be announcing new dates for South in probably a week or 2. Not entirely sure yet, but stay tuned to socials and things like that. We'll get the word out there.
If people go to the Demiplane portal, they'll be in the know.
You'll get information. And if you go to the Demiplane portal now and let me know that you're interested in South, I'll put you on the list, so you're one of the first people that I shout to once we have dates.
Is there a social media account for this to follow?
There is not yet.
You
Just
gotta go to
hashtag Cardinal Adventures. You can check, my socials, obviously, Demiplane socials. Dwarven Forge has been very helpful, and Andrew, so that's been really nice. But yeah, especially you said you have a lot of DMs. Like, I am almost always the dungeon master, and it's so exciting the few times that I get to actually be a player and just relax and kind of have that perspective again. So come join us if you're used to running a game. I would love to give you a break for a few hours and let you have that player experience again.
Are they pre-made characters, or can you bring your own? Anything
at all. I am wide open on character choice. I don't even care if you're from different realms, if you're from the future.
You'll make it work.
Really, I have designed these games to accommodate a very wide range of characters. Now, as long as you're not bringing something that's overpowered, I am really open to it.
Whatever's people are gonna have fun with, let's make it happen.
Have fun with. And I do have caveats, like I don't generally love evil parties. I want someone who's in it for the team, is there to, do right by the world and help the people that they're with. But anything within that general.
That's pretty much always my only rule.
Yeah.
Generally, I make a thing is no evil characters. Yeah. Like, unless they talk me into it. Like, we did a one shot.
For sure.
Liam O'Brien was like, I want to play this evil. I was like, okay, I think you have the judgment to be like, yeah. But
I'm okay with characters that are obsessed with death, or think that death is not necessarily the worst thing. There's certainly, you could be of a more natural minded, that this is a cycle of life. All of that is fine. I just don't want someone who's going to actively work against the party, because that's no fun for everyone.
You don't want to ruin people's fun. You want to have those interesting discourse where they're like,
exactly.
well, no, necromancy is part of the flow, and it's like that stuff that's exciting. When that drama is happening, it's great. But it's spoiling everybody else's fun, or all my hard work, right? I spent all this time building this thing.
If you just kill your party members, I'm not playing with you. Yeah.
Who wants to be there for that?
It's definitely a trickier thing to pull off. Like it involves, it's gotta be a thing that's like, the game has to be like there to put up with it. Like the players have to be like okay with it. Like it's
Yeah.
And who's
Yeah.
really okay with, like, you don't want to spend all this time developing this character and have them murdered by your
I know.
supposed friend, and then, like, yeah, it's just,
yeah.
yeah.
Luckily, no one has pushed that yet. Most people are they're very excited to get to play and to meet new people. So I don't anticipate that being a problem.
Do you-
But yeah, even with live streams, I'm always like, my only role is, cultivate something within your character that wants to help the team, and follow the quest.
Be
That's
part of
about
this. Be part of this group. We're all going this story together. Be in this story. Don't chase the squirrel. Like, chase the squirrel for like 1 minute is cool, and then
Yes.
come back and.
And I go, it was just a squirrel.
Yeah.
Back to the...
Well, how, is it hard? Do you balancing if you're doing the same 6 sessions of the same thing with characters that can kind of be wherever? Like, is it hard for you to balance the challenges in there? Like, if you're pre-writing this and you can't, like, one of the sly flourish techniques, which lots of people do beyond sly flourish, is go down the character sheets before the game and be like, hey, do I have good challenges? The wizard has all fire spells. Do I have a couple of ice things and then maybe one thing that's immune to fire to make it spicy? But like,
Sure.
Is it hard to balance for a random, like, the internet sending you its best? Like, what do you?
I mean, yes and no. So for one, people are sharing with me what their characters are. So I will have some sense before I go in. Now, I don't have time to do like a whole bunch of research. And I've also been really honest, like, this isn't tailored to your character. I love that you've made a whole backstory. Please lean on that in your choices. But I haven't, it likely won't literally come into play.
Your long lost brother isn't going to happen to be in the first room.
Probably not, yes. In this particular situation. Maybe down the line, like if a group does decide to play through all 4 directions, that's a different story. If I have that kind of time and get to know you guys and your players, we can start to thread some of that in.
And there's this fun setup that kind of ends up in the first one, they do this thing and Lisa's thing. And
exactly. So yeah, so there's room for that if we proceed. But of course, for the first one, it's, again, the adventure's designed to sort of accommodate this wide range. So when it comes to that, definitely there are moments where I'm like, I'm mostly interested in going through, and this is another good reason to do 4th level, because there's a cap on what they're capable of.
Yeah.
So, I know that they can't just kill my monster with 1 word or, something like that. And so I just basically go through, I have play tested all of these adventures with friends who made random characters. They didn't even share with me beforehand. So I literally jumped in not knowing anything about their characters. So I just try to make sure that nothing you have would break the game to the extent that you can't play it or enjoy it. And there have been a couple of things in the last week or two as people have been sharing their characters with me. I went, oh, I should have a provision for that, because it just hadn't occurred to me, and because they're brilliant and they came up with something amazing. And I went, that's fantastic. I want to make sure that they can do that and feel really excited about it, but still have a fun, challenging game. I don't want to stop them from doing it. I want to encourage them to do it and still make it hard.
The yes but.
The yes but, exactly. Or the no but, or whatever. Yeah, the yes and the no but. So I it's a little bit of preparation in that sense. I also am a big believer in letting players be the experts in their character.
Yeah.
So I have some knowledge generally of your class and your ancestry, but I'm not spending a ton of time policing how you're doing that. I think
it's not your job. That's
not my job, and it should be yours. You should have full authority and autonomy over what your choices are and how that works. And I have a couple of things, like I know certain limits. Like if you have a +8 to something, I might go, oh, what magic item are you using at 4th level? But beyond that, I think it's more fun if I'm the expert in this adventure and you're the expert in you. And unless you're a brand new player and I'm helping you through, in which case you will be using a pre-generated character, which I will literally have the sheet for in front of me. I've sent them over to Wizards, has that great list of like 15 pre-generated characters. And so if you are a brand new player, You can go pick one of those. I will literally have your sheet in front of
That's
me.
awesome. So you can help them along if they're
exactly. At any time, you're like, where's that number you're asking for? I will.
Do you have any brand new players that signed up? Do you know?
So far, no one brand new to D&D entirely. I have a number of people who haven't played since earlier editions, so
Cool.
brand new to 5e, which would be interesting.
Yeah.
I'll be curious what that experience will be like for them. I do think 5e's the most intuitive of the editions, at least that I'm aware of.
If they've played previous editions, they should just drop right in and be like,
it
oh,
should
that's
be
easy.
fine.
Yeah.
Some of the math will be a little different, but who cares about that? We'll make
Pick
that
it up
work.
so fast.
Just make a part where they have to grapple.
Yeah. Oh, grappling.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, it feels like $200 is too little. Like, I mean, you should be charging more.
I was so scared to charge that much.
No, I don't know. I mean, it's a 4-hour session or 3 to 4 hour session.
3 to 4 hours.
All the prep, all the whatever, vetting the characters, doing all the whatever. Like it's an enormous amount of work on your time. So the chance to play with you, $200 seems like a bargain on my.
Well, thanks. I hope so. I do want. Again, I want anyone who wants to be able to play at least one of these to be able to, and I felt like if I went much higher, that might be a real barrier for some
too inaccessible.
people. Yeah, it was the kind of thing where if $200 is an expense for you, then this is a great anniversary, holiday, birthday. It could be something sort of special in that sense.
Fun birthday gift.
Yeah, as a birthday gift to yourself or to someone you know.
Or an anniversary gift. You both play together. You and your partner play.
I think that'd be fantastic. So I wanted to find the right balance, and 200 may even still be too high, in some circumstances, and I completely understand that. And maybe down the line I'll find a way to release this in other ways, whether that's a PDF and you can run it at home for, I don't know, much less. But I'll try to see what I can do. Again, I would like this to be as inclusive and bring as many people into this world as I can.
Well, it's a better role playing is a better world. The more people that can be in it, the better it is.
I agree.
Yeah. So I have some. Is there anything else about the adventure specifically?
Well,
Before I start
did
meandering
want to say,
about your DM style, I have a bunch of questions for you.
Of course. Well, I did want to say it's been interesting because obviously for those of us who are on the northern hemisphere, when we think north, we have these very distinct ideas of north and cold. But of course, you just go to the southern hemisphere, north means a very different thing. So I did want to offer anybody who comes along to just leave those preconceptions at the door. That what you sort of assume these cardinal directions to mean may not be what they mean.
Wait, it sounds like you're giving out spoilers here. Are you going to break an NDA with yourself?
With myself, I know. I'm going to be very angry with myself later tonight.
Do you want to reveal any other secrets?
So other secrets I will sort of reveal in all of this is that no matter which adventure you choose to do, you will get significant insight into the other ones, no matter which one. So whichever one you pick, likely you will leave that adventure having a vague idea of what the other ones might be about. So I'm keeping it super, super surprising. I want the first time you play Cardinal for you to go, I have no idea what spells to prepare. I have no idea what magic item to pick. I don't know. I mean, you could be a drow on the beach, as far as I know.
Classic.
Classic drow on the beach. And I think that's part of the fun of it for me.
That's really
in this
fun.
First one is really having no idea how to prepare. But if you do choose to continue, I promise you will have significant more insight. You'll have that time to prepare the spells you want, to trade out your magic item, to use whatever you find, to buy extra equipment.
Calibrate up.
Calibrate a bit. But yes, while there still will be a lot of mystery, even one adventure will give you significant insight.
Amazing. Well, and I guess the other question on this is from pretty much everybody that we've had on the show, including ourselves, talking about. We've had ourselves on the show. I guess we do.
Yes, you
do. Every time somebody sort of is putting something creative out into the world, there is fear and doubt and all that weird stuff that creeps in. What was it like throwing out these ideas? Be like, hey, you have to pay me money to play in this made up thing that I did.
God.
Who's gonna do it? Like,
I'm gonna go bright red. Yeah, it's extremely nerve-wracking, and there was a part of me that was very nervous really to do it, and had convinced myself that no one was going to be interested, or that people were going to be angry at me. A lot of different things, and I think it's that imposter syndrome or whatever we do in our brains that make us say we're not worth anything.
Imposter syndrome comes up pretty much every episode that we ever talk with an artist. I mean, I kind of dig for it too, because I'm just curious if everybody else goes through this. Like, I mean, I get nervous. I run a weekly game for my 9-year-old son, my brother, and his 11-year-old, 9-year-old, and I get nervous before every game.
I know.
And I've been doing it for like 30 years, and I still get nervous for like.
It's so crazy. And it's so easy. Our brains are so good at justifying our fears. So, I go, Deb, you've only been playing for like 10 years. Why would anybody hire you to be their dungeon master? And I have so many good logical reasons why this is an insane idea. But sometimes it's that letting your heart win.
It's those logical reasons.
Those logical reasons, and it's letting your heart win, because we said our brains are our worst enemies, and they will try to stop us sometimes. Low self-esteem, ego, things like that will try to stop us from doing extraordinary things. And so I'm glad I didn't listen this time.
What do you have any advice for people that are facing that are, like, hey, I mean, I guess I'll take it, whatever you got, because literally we're about to throw another Kickstarter up in the world, and every time, I don't care how many millions of dollars you raise in Kickstarter, you get every time it's that same, what if nobody shows up? What if nobody backs it? What if it's a big failure? What if it doesn't, what if the stuff looks stupid? What if the people say this is dumb? And
going into Wildlands, that was definitely a thing. There was a part where we were just like, what if nobody shows? Like, we're trying to, we're asking people to like back terrain during a pandemic. It's like, what if this is
what if nobody shows up? What if they think this is the worst idea we've had? What if they think we're jerks because we're doing this? What if we like?
I mean, that all pops up. I mean, I think back to, I had a professor in college at acting school, because obviously in acting classes you're talking a lot about self-esteem, and you're talking about external rejection,
which is
all of the time.
Acting is endless rejection, right? You go, how many auditions you have to go to before you get one, like
hundreds
of rejections, hundreds of
and
you still keep going.
And you still keep going, and you're dumb enough to have decided to love this thing enough that you've made it a part of your identity. So they're not actually just rejecting you for a job; they are rejecting you as a person.
Your choices, everything you've made to go up here. Yeah.
Yes. Oh. So yes, I'm keenly, acutely aware of this horrible voice in all of our heads. I think we talk about artistic careers, but
so what did you learn in college to get around it?
So one of my teachers in college, as we were talking about this kind of hurtful self-talk, said if you can cultivate a belief or an idea of talking to yourself as if you were your own little sister or own little brother, because if you think about that and how much we love someone who doesn't necessarily have to be related to you, but someone that is part of you, your family, your
someone that's not you.
Someone
it's so
that
much
isn't
easier
you.
To love somebody else and be like, be nice to them.
And they're smaller and feel more vulnerable, and so you have a protective feeling of them. And you would never talk to, I would never talk to my little sister the way that I talk to myself. And I would stand up for my little sister in a way that I almost never stand up for myself. And I would encourage her to value herself in a way that I almost never encourage myself to value. And so it's hard, obviously easier said than done, but I do think of that sometimes. I think that was part of what gave me the courage to step forward with this, was to say, if I imagine a big sister who said to me, this is a great idea, and it comes from a place of loving this game and wanting to share it and that experience with, everyone out there in the world. And that is a good thing. And I tried to tell myself that there was, if no one shows up,
who cares? It doesn't make you a bad person. You're not a failure as a person. You're not, it doesn't mean it was a bad idea. It doesn't You're still
and you can adjust.
Yes.
You know, you can come back with something slightly different, or having learned something about it.
Yeah.
And also remembering that like one bad day doesn't make a bad life. One bad action doesn't make a bad person. And again, we're saying bad as if it's a moral, you know.
But failure is not inherently a bad thing. We fail.
Exactly.
We try and fail as rapidly as possible here at Dwarven Forge, particularly with our technical setups. It's really important to do it wrong a lot, or just do it, not strive to be right or do it the correct way, but just have a momentum forward. And sometimes we hit a wall. And things break, and the sculpt breaks, and the thing, whatever, it doesn't work, and it.
I think that really is the whole thing with like as we started showing people like the process behind things more. It really has been the thing of like letting people see like, the final piece. It's like you look at it's like, oh yeah, this is great. It's like you want to see all the different versions of this we had that did not work
that we had to get to this that didn't work. And,
all the weird prototypes we have around of like a piece where it was like, I don't know why we thought it was a good idea to do it this way.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, with acting, so much of what people see is that final, really polished version. And I always get really excited about the opportunity to talk about, you have no idea everything that was going on and all of everything we were up against. And it looks really bright and shiny and easy in that last moment. But the struggle and challenge and hours and energy and everything that went into it is, I love sort of lifting the curtain on all of that, so people can understand better that, we're really working hard.
Well, and you might have done 20 takes, and you might have flubbed your lines on 3 of them, and you might have tried 6 different directions to see if anything resonated, and you don't even know what's right because it's not. You're trying to channel an emotion, and you don't even know what it reads, and it's like.
And you're cold, and it's 4 a.m, and you just got hit by a car. I literally shot a scene not 2 hours after someone had rear-ended me right outside of set. So I was like, I was in like shock. And meanwhile, I had talked to the cops that had shown up just before, and I was telling the insurance company my statement. And thank God our transportation, we had such an amazing crew, but our transportation department helped me. They checked out my car to make sure that it was safe to drive home, and
you have to step out of your car, go into HMU, and then just start hitting lines and start channeling emotion. Go be. And
then one person, 6 months later is like, she's really stupid and wooden in this scene.
The one person on the internet.
The one person on the internet. I want to be like, guess what?
And why is it that, a million people will say she's amazing, and that one person on the internet will say, and that's the thing that gets you. And it's like,
because the imposter in your brain is looking for validation.
There it is.
So if I sit there and I go, in reality, I'm terrible. I know I'm awful. I'm no good at this acting thing. And that mean little voice is looking for evidence. Yeah. It's looking for evidence that I suck.
It's like that whole thing.
It's a mean detective in your brain.
It's super easy to convince yourself that everybody who's giving you a compliment is just somebody you've managed to fool.
Yeah, I fooled everybody.
Or they're just being nice. They're not being real. It's very, very easy to dismiss all of that because that stupid voice is so strong.
So speaking of acting, does any of your acting training bleed into D&D? How does that affect? Do you memorize dialogue for your NPCs? Is it all? Well, first of all, how do you memorize dialogue? I tried out for all the high school plays, and I could only be Templeton the Rat because he had 4 lines of dialogue. I could strut around the stage and be stupid, but I couldn't say the dialogue.
Yeah. Well, here's my secret. So, people generally think of memorizing dialogue, I think, in the wrong way. They think that you memorize dialogue the same way that you memorize the presidents in your history class, right? For a test. You memorize it, you know it, and then you do it on the test, and then you forget it for the rest of your life. Learning words, and I actually don't use the word memorization. I use learn by heart because to me that is a much more accurate expression. So I know it's connected to something. So I know my words the way I know the words to my favorite song. I know them like I know Twinkle Twinkle Little Star or Happy Birthday.
It's part of you.
It's part of you. And also remembering that you're communicating something. So I actually haven't memorized the line. I've read it a bunch, so it's in there. And then when that person says, hey, how are you? I go, oh yeah, there was that thing I read that expresses so clearly what I want to tell you right now. And then you say it. And so you actually don't have to memorize in order or anything like that. The person's going to cue you. They're going to tell you what your next line is by the communication. And then I know what I'm trying to tell them. And I just happen to have all this really well-written stuff that's floating around in my brain. Now,
you make that sound easy. That
Yeah.
is not.
It's a practice.
Yeah.
It is definitely a practice. What you get better at it the more you do it. But rather than memorizing a line, I try to hold on or drop into the space of this scene and know what I'm trying to say. And then I've read it enough that those words come to me. And that's easier for modern text, classical text, where there might be specificity might be much more important. You do have to do a little bit of more actual memorization work, but it still flips over, for me at least, into that learned by heart space.
So do you do this? Does any of this bleed into D&D? So that was
So
going back to
I
the original query.
I know. I don't memorize anything for D&D. But
I hope not.
you'll notice if you watch my stuff, I don't use a screen. I don't use notes.
It blew my mind last there's no why. So so you're just all improv for you're in the scene. You know what your characters would think and feel.
I generally run things I write, which is easier for me than running something someone else has written, because it's a tip I often give DMs in order to kind of engage and immerse your players is, rather than reading text or having memorized texts, see the room in front of you, right? And then describe it. So you don't actually have to have memorized anything. You know what that room looks like in your brain. So look at it and go, okay, so over here, there's this big armoire and it's got mirrors on the front of it. And then there's a door right next to it that has a poster of a cat hanging on the wall that says, hang in there, and you're just gonna just go around the room and describe it.
So you're doing for the room what you're doing for your dialogue.
Exactly.
You're just,
You see it and then you say it. And I think that, and especially because it places your players inside the room, rather than the bird's eye view of a map or the north, south, east, west corners of a dialogue box or a text. If you're like, behind you, Jeremy, there's an armoire, and over there behind you, and then it makes them go, oh, okay, and then they feel like, even sitting at a table, they're in the middle of this space. So that's something that I find really, really exciting as a dungeon master.
So then the screen. So what? So you don't have a DM screen. I feel like you don't have notes either.
Not really. I have like a 1 or 2 page sheet that I will write out for myself, but I rarely look at it.
So why? So why? And how?
Again,
I'm the same way.
I made it. Yeah. So maybe Chris will understand. I made it. So again, I know that, you're going to walk into the foyer, then there's going to be a grand staircase. I know there's a secret door over there because I made that room behind it, but you'll figure that out later, and I know that if you go around the staircase to the back, there's the atrium, or, the atrium of the conservatory, the greenhouse, and up the stairs, that's the nursery. And as you come around that, I see it. And I've done a lot of prep work in terms of, I've made those floor plans and I've written it all out. But in the end, after all that work, it's just there. So I can just describe it as you go through, because I know, again, the same way as if I were to be like, oh, I left my iPhone in my house, can you go get it for me? So you're going to go in the front door, you're going to turn right. I can describe to you how to walk through my house, right? So it's the exact same thing. I'm describing to people how to walk through this house that I built in my brain.
So what's this homework that you do beforehand? You said you were doing floor plans. You said
Yes.
what else? What else do you do to help prepare so that you've committed this?
Yes.
You've committed. How do you quantify this imaginary world for yourself so that it's real, so that you can get out there and it's just effortless and you're in it? Right.
So I'm a big believer in research. So I do know, oh, I want to do a creepy mansion. So I will look up mansions and I will find floor plans for mansions and generally how they were built and the way that the rooms are constructed and the different types of things they'll have. And I might print it out and put a tracing paper over it and be like, I don't want that wall, but I do want this one. And eventually, after enough kind of work on that, I'll have something that looks nothing like the original tracing, but is exactly right for what I'm trying to do. And it's inspired by that real space.
It lifted from real things and
Exactly.
real choices that people made if you were doing a haunted mansion.
Exactly.
We're going to build this mansion to be haunted. What do we need? So floor plans and research.
Yeah.
Any other
I mean,
things
even
that
things,
you're-
same thing with like monsters, you know, like I had my ghillie men in Relics and Rarities. And so I wanted to do sort of a Frankenstein take, but I wanted it to be sea creatures. And she was this mad scientist who was, you know, sort of fusing all kinds of different creatures together. And so again, same thing, it sort of did that. And then I borrowed things from one monster and another, you know, other things from other monsters, and then a couple things that were just my own. And I used, you know, mechanics from other monsters to make sure that it was the right kind of balance. But I ended up again with something completely custom. But again, inspired by all of these great minds who had been doing this work before.
There are
You know, all the way back to, you know, Frankenstein. So.
You lifted Frankenstein's brain and put it in. Is there when you're doing your world building, what do you focus on first? Like if you make a scene? Do you start with the sort of the story? Do you start with the setting? Do you start with the characters? Do you start with all of it? Like where?
I'm very location inspired, for sure. And again, the location that I start with might not be the first location that you go to. It may be where the big bad lives. It may be just a really interesting side quest, but I'm generally inspired by the adventure tales of my youth. So I look at like Indiana Jones, you know, these kinds of Star Wars, you know, all the things that I grew up with that inspired me as I was growing up, you know, The Exorcist, things like that, scary movies, scary books. And from that, I'll go, oh, like I said, I want to do a haunted mansion, or I want to do a Tomb Raider. I want to do, you know, what is the kind of trope overall genre that I want to evoke? You know, what's the type of adventure I want my players to go on in this moment? And, you know, then you can start looking up real tombs, you know, and then you go, oh, well, like, where do I want to draw from? The Mayans or the Egyptians? Or, you know, there's these incredible the Puebloans here in in Northern America. There's so many different places you can go and find this inspiration that, you know, again, starts to flavor it a little bit differently for what you might find.
So you wander, you get some research, and you get some zones. You're like, oh, I kind of want this mansion, and maybe there's a cave underneath that has this thing drawn from these tombs
And then from there, I start to go, all right, who would live here? And why would they have made these choices? And that gets me excited. And those kind of go hand in hand. Your haunted mansion, okay, well, ghosts, you know, but it goes deeper than that. You kind of go, okay, well, why are there ghosts here? And why are they stuck here? And who made them ghosts? And what do they want? And so you start asking all of these questions that then start to form story. And I can usually get a pretty good solid story for a location, and then it's just kind of keep building out from there. So I am not a top down, I am an in out.
Well,
I start with very small details, because sometimes it'll just be like, ooh, wouldn't it be cool if to get through the door you had to tell a knock knock joke? Great.
And you reverse engineer that from there.
Where would it be? Maybe in a nursery, because that's kind of a kid's thing. Cool, a nursery. What's fun about nurseries? Ooh, when they're haunted and the cradles move by themselves.
Nurseries when they're haunted?
You know, and you just kind of keep. So it might start with something tiny like that, of like, ooh, I'm just excited by this, and slowly kind of build out. One of my favorite ones, just for Jasper's Day, I did. I wanted to do a haunted hotel. So my original inspiration was sort of the Shining space. So I started Googling haunted hotels and things like that, trying to get, you know, inspiration for that. And I came across the lyrics for Hotel California, the Eagles song.
Yeah.
And as I'm reading through these, I'm like, this is a D&D adventure.
Wait, did you do a D&D adventure?
I did a D&D adventure. It's called The Eagles View In. and it was inspired by Hotel California.
It's the best.
And it's so fun. I mean, she's this, beautiful, scary woman with a candle. She's surrounded by these adoring boys, and no one ever leaves. You can,
Right.
you can leave or you can, what is it? You can check out anytime, but you can never leave. Come on, that's a D&D
That's
adventure.
creepy. That's
Right?
creepy, yeah.
She's got mirrors on the ceiling, and there's a party every night, and it's all about excess and do you give into what you want, or what's the line is so great. You're a
All the NPCs are pretty boys.
oh, they're all beautiful boys.
Yeah.
But it's this, I'm going to say it wrong, but it's like you're a victim to your vices.
Yeah.
So that ended up being my theme for it, was that
Cool.
the only way to escape was to sort of accept your vice and choose something else. So it ended up being really fun. But again, something tiny like that blows up into this incredible idea, and you can come from anywhere.
Do you draw any of your storytelling techniques from your background in film? Like, enter late and leave early, or is there anything
Well,
that
it's interesting because when she was describing the way that when you were describing the way that you set up rooms, like saying like, oh, there's an armoire behind you and everything, it reminded me of how, in a screenplay, like you don't write down like everything about the room, but like you put in like the stage direction, like the bits that you think are going to lead
The
people
narrative
through the
bits that you
mental
can interact
process
with,
that you
or-
want them to see.
Yeah. I mean, I think I do want there to be rising action. So I do want it to kind of start with exploration / skill checking, and then lead to kind of a climactic battle-y kind of moment. I don't follow that to a T. In fact, Eagle's View Inn flips that a little bit, which is fun. But I do like the idea of kind of having a little bit of everything in every day, in every adventure, and having it lead to something that feels like a victory.
Well, that's certainly, especially if it's a one-shot, so you want that satisfaction of that. That arc is like a very satisfying arc.
I love one-shots. One-shots are my favorite. And even when I do extended campaigns, they are one-shots that lead to other one-shots that lead to other one-shots. And you might spend 4 sessions in one-shot. It's just a big one-shot. But I think most D&D campaigns are that. They are a dungeon. They are a castle. They are
a dungeon followed by the haunted castle on top,
Exactly.
followed by the necromancer's tower, who's behind that,
followed by the walk through the woods where you're trying. So I think also reinventing the 5-room dungeon, that the 5-room dungeon can be anything. It can be a path through the woods. It doesn't have to be contained in that same way. But I do like quests. I like players to know pretty clearly what they're after and why.
Well, you need a motivating objective.
Yes.
You need why, we're not just chasing squirrels.
It's not
again.
super sandboxy with me. I try not to put you on rails in the sense that this is the only thing you can do and only one way you can do it. But there is one goal.
We're looking for the
a
Holy
lot
Grail.
of ways. You
We
are
gotta
looking
find
for the Holy Grail.
You don't know how you're going to get there.
How do you want to find it?
It's up to you, but you need to get that.
Yeah, and cultivate something within yourself that wants it. And I have another rule that I do, which is for every quest, I try to have, at least 2 to 3 motivating factors. One that is money-based, one that is reputation or power-based, and one that is emotionally based. So you're going to go save the kidnapped, child, but there also happens to be a hoard of gold there in which someone thinks a long lost magic item has gone missing. So no matter
the kidnapped
what your
child's held in a
characters-
vault of magic artifacts.
Exactly.
And,
So no matter what your character is motivated by, you are all equally interested in going to that goal.
Something will resonate for all the players one way or another. That's clever. So let me ask you this: if you're very location based, right?
Yeah.
Like you want to make your haunted mansion, whatever.
Yeah.
Why not play with terrain? Like if you could actually build this world. If you want to.
You definitely could. Here's my main thing. I'm a minimalist.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of stuff period, or at least I'm not attracted to stuff generally. I don't have very many minis. And I'm an actor, so I love imagination. I'm so drawn to that.
Well, you can also go anywhere. Like if you
Yes.
if they decide that they're doing this, whatever, you can shift the.
And I can change things. Yeah, there are definitely moments. Definitely moments where I'm like, oh wow, they got through that room faster, or they're going much slower. I'm going to take out the next room. That room just doesn't exist anymore. So
they missed the secret door. I got to move it here. I got to
exactly. It's really fun to be able to do that. And kind of switch things up on the fly, and yeah, I think for me, I'm so drawn to this feeling of you personally sitting at my table are in this room.
Yep.
You're not a mini on the table. It's you. I in some ways get more excited about players than I do about characters. And again, I think if there was a criticism of my game and my DMing style, it's that it leans probably more heavily on players than it does on characters. I'm more interested in your brilliant ideas than I am in your backstory. Yeah. I want the legend of your character to be now, not 10 years ago.
My quick thinking as a player is more potent than my fireball.
I think so, yes. And it's part of why I do real puzzles in my game rather than just, there's a puzzle, roll for it, 20, you get through.
You like building physical
I like building physical puzzles that players can manipulate and engage with. So that, hey, if Dwarven Forge wants to make me some puzzles.
Well, you made it at that D&D Live, the Avernus one. You made that really cool rotating cylinder.
I did. I made a cipher.
Well, you could see that the players, they were sweating for it. Like you pulled this thing out and you're like, all right, now you're going to solve it. And there was this sort of the side eye of like, wait a second.
I made that with cardstock and glue.
But it looked really good from a distance. It looked really good.
I was so proud of it. I still have it. Oh my God, wait, hold on.
And pull it up. See.
I think she successfully convinced all of our viewers that they don't need our terrain anymore.
Yeah, well,
Started throwing those out.
I'm sorry, I'm such a nerd.
We're all
No,
nerds
we hate
here.
that here.
It's so good. And it doesn't open until you get the right
combination. Open until you get the right combination.
You made like an actual working puzzle.
And they had to solve it like on live on stage. She hands them this box. And it's like, you got to get in there and like.
Miles already went home, right?
Yeah.
Miles would be losing his mind if he saw this right now. Miles loves like trying to design puzzle boxes and stuff. That's wild.
This is so much fun. I actually don't remember the code, so I can't open it for you right now. I mean, I could. There's a cheat. I mean, I could cheat. Let's see.
Don't cheat.
Nobody look.
Okay, nobody look. We'll turn the internet off right now.
You just got to put it like 6 inches lower, and we can't.
Oh, there we go. Okay. I'll see if I can cheat it.
There's also a lot of people in chat offering to send you minis if you need minis.
I also have a tiny home, so like storage is a premium.
In one of the seasons of Narrative Telephone, Liam did it in front of his Dwarven Forge collection. So behind him was just like a solid 8 foot by like 6 foot matrix of just sterilite bins like full of Dwarven Forge.
Wow.
It does take up a lot of space.
Well, it
takes up a lot of space.
It's a problem. I mean, hell.
Woo!
First try, you nailed it.
It's inside.
So awesome.
So
and then there was a scroll in there that then they get to unroll and
there was a scroll and there was a healing potion type thing. So and I gave them there was a riddle to solve that would then give you the combination. So it's a 2-part puzzle in that sense. And I get all nerdy excited about things like this.
Have you ever been LARPing?
Yeah. I have not.
Oh man!
But I should. I definitely should.
You know, if you ever find yourself on the Northeast when Magic World is in season, you can come join our group.
Okay, I might hold you to that.
It's because there's physical puzzles. There's things. It's experiential. You can get involved in combat, or you can just role play. You can knit in the tavern. Like literally, there are people who are like weaving on their things, and like it's just like
you just get off the grid
surrounded by 150 other, like you're all in this weird thing where you're like you're playing pretend, but there's a whole bunch of people all doing it at the same time. It is so magical, and it's like my favorite thing in the world.
I had that moment that I think a lot of D&D players had a few years ago, where I was talking with my friends. We just had an incredible game with this amazing combat at the end, and we're like, oh my god, like how could we illustrate it, or like what if we made like little dolls and like did claymation to try and show how everything's happening at once. And we're like, or cheaper, we could get dressed up and go out in the woods and hit each other with styrofoam swords. And I was like, that's how close we are to LARPing.
And don't you make clothing? Don't you make costumes?
I do make clothing. I do.
I mean, you get to make a cool thing.
I can make it cool, and I like historical costuming as well. And I have so little opportunity to wear my historical
you can make
items that I've made.
The Mistress of Enigmas. You can make all these puzzle boxes, and everybody will be like, "This is the coolest thing."
Because that's the thing. Pull out my woolen kirtle.
Everybody does all this stuff, right? Everybody is some sort of nerd. It's like is building either armor or costumes, or whatever. And then you go and you walk around and everybody's celebrating. And they're like, "Oh wow, that's so cool! You made that!" And it's like, and you know each other. And it's like,
because the historical costuming world can be very picky about like, oh, that stitch wasn't invented until, and you're like, I'm sorry, I didn't read that obscure text. So I do like that. I feel like the fantasy D&D world is slightly less critical about my historical accuracy.
They just care that you spent time passionately making a thing, and are surrounded by other people who are doing that same thing too. And you're all playing dress up and generally making all this stuff and like coming together and look cool.
I'm positive it's in my future. Again, I have to figure out how to kind of safely do that and be a part of it without kind of ruining the party for everybody, just by effect of, people maybe knowing me, things like that.
You put on some horns and a weird thing, and nobody there are many people. I have LARPed for many for decades, and there are people that I would not recognize not at the LARP once they're they take off all their weird stuff and their hoods and their whatever, and you're like, oh wait, you don't actually have a limp and a thing and whatever. You're there's this transformative thing where you don't really know people. You're this whole other thing. It's pretty wild.
Well, and there's something to me too about that full embrace of childlike joy and these things that make us so happy. There's getting rid of all of that, again, that stupid voice, that judgment that we do that goes, oh no, you're grown up, that's for kids, or that's dumb, or other people will think this. The idea that going someplace and LARPing, there's no holding back. Because D&D, I can still be like, well, I'm still dressed like a normal person.
You still have your
I'm
iPhone.
in my house. I still have my iPhone. Yeah, so to really say, screw all the rest of you, this makes me happy.
Yes.
That is what is the most exciting part.
And be surrounded by 100 other people who are like, you know what? We're going to go live in make-believe world and pretend we're trolls, and this is awesome. Yeah. And you're there for it. And it's like,
I love it.
Well, speaking of being awesome, this has been awesome. We got to go to our we have to do our giveaway and go to our break and go look at some terrain. Is there anything coming up that you got going on that you want to tell people about? I guess Cardinal Directions.
Cardinal is the main thing right now. Yeah. Right now. It's happening right now. You can follow the link. I'm sure you guys have put it up to go to the waiting room. While you're there, you can talk to other players. You can read some of the descriptions of what's going on, as well as if you drop me a message in the private chat about wanting to do South or East or West as they come up, I will make sure you are up on the list for that once we announce dates.
And while you're waiting, watch Relics and Rarities.
Yes, please do.
It's very, very good.
Thank you so much.
One of my friends, she started playing a couple years ago, and she's wanting to GM her first game. It wouldn't be D&D. She wants to play Die. So she was talking to us about it. She's been very excited, kind of the whole thing out, and she sent us screenshots of Relics and Rarities. She's like, oh, I want to do this. She's like, I want to do something like this, and she loves that show.
I love that. Well, please tell her I said hi, and I'm so glad that she was inspired. Relics is one of my most proud accomplishments to this date.
It's a really cool thing. The attention to detail it's really cool.
And
it's one of those things where, again, little 12-year-old Deb, who, not to get too personal, nobody liked and nobody thought was cool or any of those things.
That was me too. And
and really, to this day, as a grown-ass woman, I'm still controlled by the feelings from that period in my life. To do something like Relics, where I had this weird idea, someone believed in me enough to not only put money into it, but to build a set based on things I said and wrote
Nonsense.
and pictures that I sent them, and they built this thing and it was perfect and beautiful. And then people who've been playing this game for twice as long as I have said, yes, we're going to come and play this and do this with you. And then people watched it and liked it and thought it was fun and inspiring to them. I mean, all of that, I can't tell you how healing that has been, in a way that a lot of the acting I've done has never been, because it's always fraught with, again, that imposter syndrome voice from other people's opinions, from, again, not being valued, even sometimes literally, by the people that you're working with or working for. To have had that experience goes such a long way to making that 12-year-old girl feel like a whole person again. So that's part of why when I was looking for something creative to do, that D&D always comes to mind, because it's creative and it feels healing on a really base level.
Well, gathering together and telling stories and being people together and sharing emotions, like that's
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of opportunities in life to do that otherwise. Like I certainly
well, not
don't.
to push you too long, but like even as an actor, even in the best of live theater, you know, you might make people cry or you might make them laugh, or they might be on the edge of their seat, they might really love it, but kind of nowhere else than D&D can I be telling you a story, and when I tell you that the girl's eyes flutter open, you go, yeah, and like cheer, you know? And that kind of storytelling power is why I do what I do.
It's
and
magic.
In many ways, D&D satisfies it more than many of the other more traditional forms of acting.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And true. You're making these magical memories for you and your friends that are like that are just as real as any movie you've seen or book you've read, or even more real than some of these things. That those emotions.
We have all those things we like. I've like told people on airplanes sitting next to me, like if I'm working on an adventure or a character or something, I'll be like, oh, is that D&D? Suddenly I'm telling them about this whole adventure I went on as if I really went on
it. Was there. We were deep.
Because it was real.
It was. Yeah. Well, it was real. It was real. You had real emotions, you had real things and connections, and it was real for all of you collectively.
Your body doesn't know the difference.
Yeah.
If you experienced it, your body doesn't know the difference.
Wow.
It's great.
Well, thanks for hanging out with us and sharing all these amazing tales and advice, and
we'll collaborate on some puzzle boxes soon, maybe.
You know,
we're gonna have to do some games and stuff for cities, and we could. Yeah. It's a good place to put puzzles, actually. Doing games in a city.
Everywhere is a good place to put puzzles.
That's true, but like in a city, like you can.
Speaking of puzzles, we didn't get to talk about trigonometry, which.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, right.
So they asked me things that I like to do, and I really like algebra and trig. So we were going to talk
it's puzzles.
About that.
It's this toolbox of you have this toolbox, and you have to approach what's the logic to solve these puzzles.
And it's also, again, the minimalist in me, the person who is easily stressed. It's about simplification, right? So like algebra is a long string of numbers and letters that make no sense. And all you do is slowly apply logic to them until X equals. And there's something so calming and lovely about that. So whenever I'm stressed, I do algebra and trig.
That's amazing. Well, this is a good note to go out on. Thank you for all this advice, all this wonderful deep dive into why D&D is amazing.
This was so fun.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I guess we didn't even take any questions, man.
There's most of them were actually just answered over the conversation, but a lot of people in chat saying oh yeah, I remember just naming all the different stuff you've done, and relics and rarities came up a lot and all that. A lot of people here really appreciate you. On top of that,
thank you.
Someone's also asking me to thank you for the work you've done with CHM.
Oh wow! Yes.
They said their friend has it, and they really look up to you. So.
Oh well, thank you so much, and that's a huge part of what I like to do with, especially with the social media, which I have no idea what to do with, but this feels like a really good thing to do that with. So anyone out there, if you're interested, choroideremia is an eye condition that my husband has, and so we do a lot of work, sort of raising money and awareness about blindness in general, but also specifically choroideremia. So you can go to the Foundation Fighting Blindness or curechm.org if you want to support anything like that. We also do like auctions every so often where we sell off cool stuff from like TV shows I've done, and you can get an item and the money goes to charity. So
What a win-win-win.
Yeah.
win-win-win.
So speaking of giving stuff away, we're going to do a giveaway. What's a secret word we should use for a giveaway? What's
I should give out a secret word.
Yeah.
Sextant.
Ooh.
That's a trigonometry word. Sextant.
Win. All right. So what are people going to win?
Yeah, well, when we speaking of which, the chat like was throwing puns out left and right. Are we?
Oh yeah, we totally
we
forgot
did
about
not.
that.
We were terrible.
Are we counting chat
I
chat
forgot
puns
we
towards
were-
the total?
Cat puns. Yes.
I started having a serious discussion and
Count
forgot that we were
the
supposed
chat
to be doing puns.
Count the
Yeah, we
chat
just kind of
puns.
actually got like super into the discussion, which I
know.
assume is the keyword isn't active yet, guys. I'm gonna make it active right now. Hang on. All right, sextant is
That's
now
so
active.
unfair. It's like the
Type
DMs.
type in sextant now to enter. SEXTANT.
Well,
Yeah.
Deb, thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you for the sextant, so people know how to win a $50 Dwarven Forge gift card.
And how to calculate your position on the Earth based on the stars in the horizon. There you go.
Amazing.
All right.
Well, hopefully we will see you soon, and really excited to hear about Cardinal Adventures. And
Thank you.
when you go to Northeast and Northwest and South, we'll see what happens there.
Great. Well,
Good
thanks,
luck.
guys.
Thank you.
No
Bye.
problem. Bye.
Good night. So let's go to our fan build.
Yeah, I'll go to the fan
guess-
build real quick. I'm gonna. It's over here, right? Boom, and that just. Boom, ending that, getting that set up. Okay, perfect. Fan build. Today's fan build comes from Ogre, and this is they call it a little castle in the woods.
Wait, is this Ogre from Germany?
Yes, they sent in. I think they did the Grave of Snakes build that we used in the anniversary game.
They also did. They were at some convention. They bring a bunch of Dwarven Forge stuff to I don't know. They do a bunch of neat stuff.
They post like they've got like a really good eye for
Yeah.
laying out just
this
like
is
aesthetically
cool. The
pleasing
Bridge of
builds.
Valor.
Yeah, the Bridge of Valor is like a super underrated.
Yes.
Maybe not underrated, but I think a lot of people just don't know it exists.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, this is a cool.
A lot of good angles. It's kind of hard to get them into the
Yeah.
slideshow right. I wish I could like tweak things, but yeah, it is what it is.
Oh, I love this. The buttresses up sideways against the tower.
For those of you, if this is your first time for the giveaway, by the way, I just want to say it is an international giveaway. You can win a $50 gift card. If you're in the U.S., we can also send you a basic Caverns core set instead, if you prefer that. However, we can only do that for the U.S. Outside of the U.S., we can just do the $50 Dwarven Forge store gift card. So, as long as you type Sextant into the chat at least once, you will be eligible. Yeah, it's a nice build. I don't know. I like the
Awesome.
the way that the cities and the streets really are nice when they're put in.
Streets are gorgeous. Like they're.
Yeah.
I have nothing against streets other than it's expensive
Use them every
to
day.
cover a lot. Well, yeah, there's that too.
Yeah.
You cover a lot of They're limiting in that they force you on a grid, but they're really pretty. Unlike all the other stuff we make, which is
Yeah.
not at all.
We just
pretty.
make real ugly stuff, and then there's streets. Just the way that it blends with wilderness. I'm so excited to see what people do once they actually have wildlands. I'm imagining like this build if they had access to all the wildlands
I
plants
hope
and
the
everything.
container goes out on Saturday.
Me too. I mean, we'll know soon, right? If it goes
Yeah.
out on Saturday and then everything else goes well, people will some people might have their stuff by Christmas, which would be really cool.
If it goes out on
Like-
Saturday, it's supposed to arrive on the 5th, which means it's probably at our warehouse by the 15th, which means we start shipping before Thanksgiving for the first batch of North American stuff.
KPL here.
But
for
that-
those of you who don't know, we're gonna roll the giveaway in like a minute or two, and then I'll whisper you right after that. And then if you have to go or whatever, that's fine. Just whisper back when you can. I'll get your email and we'll contact you through there.
Man, that was a really fun interview.
It was. I wish we had more time. that's the main thing. Like she was really great to talk to.
What is this? Oh, it's this thing. What do I see?
Oh yeah, we can lower the thing a little bit, and it'll probably help. Yeah, that also works. Got little pieces. Yeah, no, that was a really fun talk. It was a good time.
It's good times. All right, so
Yeah.
we got so much to cover. I don't know. We got to look at.
Yeah, we got to look at the Wildlands pieces.
Reliquaries.
It's already almost
day
8:20.
We got to look at Wildlands stuff. I'm thinking about it as puzzle boxes now.
It's really cool, dude. Like genuinely, when you're able to hand the players like a physical handout, like a thing that they can actually physically do, like that's the best stuff. Like when I did like my little like Redwall one shot, that was like my favorite thing. Was just like it was all about solving riddles, and so just like actually physically handing them like the sheets with like the riddles written on them, or handing them like this is what you see on the wall, and it's just like this like weird image with like some note staffs.
Michelle tried to run she ran a Pathfinder session for us a couple of years ago when she was here, and it was riddles. Is she here in the chat? She said
Michelle, I think so.
It was riddles and puzzles, and if you failed them, there was combat, and we just got absolutely massacred. Like we just like couldn't like.
She's too smart for you.
Oh, there was just like, it was a really nice, cool mix of like physical puzzles that you had to deconstruct things, and then really hard riddles, and we just like we did not. It didn't go so well for Team DF. I don't know what was. We were off. Our mojo was off that night. It was like.
Well, my favorite thing is when we were playing the Hellscape game, and you were trying to figure out like you wanted there to be a riddle from one of the things, and you're asking me, it's like, oh, what would be good? And I'm like, you know what you should do?
It was really
because you were concerned about the pacing because you had to get within a time set. So I was like
9 levers that they had to do. It was an hour and a half game, 90-minute game or something.
Well,
An hour. It was a really short time, and I wanted to do 9 levers for the 9 levers of hell and all these things. And I'm like, all these challenges. I'm like, we need to kill a riddle, and it's gonna be. And I'm like, what do you got?
You're asking for the riddle. And well, yeah, what I told you was like, do the black, white, and red thing, and then just take whatever answer they give you, because we don't have time for them to sit there and like actually figure out a riddle.
I'm like, wait. We're doing this dramatic thing with it, and you're saying that the riddle should be what's black and white and red all over, and you're like, yeah. And then you can just take any answer.
And then whatever answer they give you, the thing just goes like, oh no, that was better than what I had.
It was awesome. Well, because it just set them up.
Yeah.
First of all, like we needed the time, because riddles are either too easy or too hard. Right, and they needed the time, and then it just sets them up for a fun PC moment where they can just say any nonsense. And you're like, how did you know it was? It was a really good. That was a really good one.
It was fun. It was a good funny. It got a good laugh. Like it was. Yeah, it was a fun time.
It was a really good solve.
All right, and people are asking if we can do a puzzle box reliquary. Like, man, that'd be so complicated.
Not in the next 5 weeks, but
there'll probably be some things that you could like say are puzzle boxes. They won't function as it, but they could probably fit in.
Yeah.
In that vein. All right, let's roll this giveaway real quick and then move on. Asian Red Dragon 11, I think is how to pronounce this name, which I think is the first time they've ever won. Yeah, congratulations. I'm going to whisper you real quick, and we will get this sorted. Yeah, so, we got to set the... I'm going to set the camera up to look at this stuff.
Right. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. So, what we're going to look at is we have. Oh, I can take the headphones off. Woo! It's so weird being in headphone world. Is like.
We've been so many interviews.
It's like being on Prozac or something. It's just. I mean, I don't know. I'm nervous, but like it just makes you in this like.
We're so used to not. Well, I mean, it's weird because you're usually wearing headphones at your desk.
Well, that's when I want to concentrate. Like, it's when I want to be in a weird bubble and concentrating, and I'm internal versus external.
The weirdest part about it for me has been that I still need to be able to hear what you're saying, so I have to like only have
one ear
on one.
Off.
Yeah.
And yeah.
All right. Red Dragon, I'm going to whisper you now, and we'll get that sorted. Bam. Okay, that has been sent, and we will get that sorted. I'm going to hook up the camera real quick, and then we will get into looking at some stuff. We got a couple things from Wildlands and Reliquaries to show today, from my understanding.
We got to power through.
There we go. All right. Oh, yeah, people are going to love this. All right.
Yeah, I'm not doing this first. We got to like... Oh, they already. Oh, yes.
No, it's not. It wasn't shown yet. I've only had it on this. They didn't see anything. I was setting it up.
Saw it.
I was setting it up in studio mode. They only
Okay.
see what's on the right side in studio mode. How many times have we done this?
Is he lying to me, chat? Let me
Not lying.
know.
They haven't seen
I
anything.
can't read it. But...
Oh, people in chat are going like Wildlands first or Reliquaries first.
We're gonna do
saying
Wildlands first.
Yeah.
Wildlands first. We gotta go newest to oldest. I mean, wait, oldest.
Yeah.
So we've got some paint samples from Wildlands, which are. Did we look at the wyvern last week?
I believe we looked at the wyvern. Yeah.
We saw the wyvern in the nest with the gold eggs.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
We showed the nest and the eggs and all
Okay,
that.
so we don't need to look at that. Did we look at the glamour leaf last week and turn off all the lights?
Turn off all the lights.
Did we look at the glamour leaf with all the lights off?
No.
Did we look at the glamour leaf at all?
I don't think so.
All right. Well.
All right. Bam. Here we go. Oh yeah. Let's get into the.
Woo.
Boom boom boom. Want me to black out? On one sider? All right.
Whoa, that's super blackout. What happens if I do this back?
Do you want me to? I mean, I can put the works back on.
Wait, try the works. There you go.
Yeah, give him the works. All right.
Give it a little. Look at that. I should show you the.
Oh, apparently chat's saying we did. But
Oh, well.
Chris, why are you lying to Nate? Look, man, we're in like crunch mode. It's so hard to remember things.
I don't. It's hard to remember things when not in Crunchyroll. Okay, we turn the lights
Yeah.
back on.
Yeah.
All right. Well, they already saw the glamour leaf. So.
They drank too much after the show last week. Same thing about getting a restock. Yeah, we have a major restock coming in about 2 weeks. It's
a double whammy.
Our restocks got delayed by like 2 months because of the shipping crisis. But we finally got it on a boat, and in 2 weeks, a major restock is
Can
hitting.
it be a crisis if it just keeps going forever? It's like a.
You can have a crisis
epidemic.
for a long time.
Yeah. So this is the Sarnes bulb pod.
You know how long a midlife crisis lasts?
I'm in one, dude. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm like 45. Isn't that like the?
Do you
heart
actually have any anxiety over it though? Like you never really seem to. You never really seem to struggle
I think
with that.
going Dwarven Forge full time was my midlife crisis. I think
It's been a midlife crisis, like getting just like a really cool. I guess you're working with toys, but like.
Yeah, no, like I don't know. I don't know what it is.
You seem to be handling it a lot. I mean.
Yeah. No, I think I quit advertising. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I just need to.
That just seems like a
choice.
life improvement. That doesn't seem like a crisis.
Yeah. No, I think the crisis was going. Oh my god, I'm ruining my life. Why am I making making soulful toys?
It sounds like you had a midlife solution to the crisis.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. I think it was a reckoning.
Yeah.
Right. It was looking yourself in the mirror and going, I don't want to do something. Like I don't want to solve other people's problems. I want to make my own problems and then solve them, and then get other people on the team to solve them. No, I'm tired of like cutting ads for Walmart and stuff. You're like this. I'm just making stupid rich people more rich. I'd rather make cool stuff that I care about with people that I love. So.
I get that. That was always the thing I struggled with the most. Like the reason.
Harpoon gun.
Any jobs I ever had where I had to sell things to people was very difficult. Usually because like.
Hey, you sold Runa to my mom and changed my life. So.
Well, yeah, but I believed in that. But
Okay.
that was like the thing. Even that was.
That's a funny story out of context. It might sound weird, but it's.
Yeah, that is fair.
We showed this last week too, didn't we? Yeah, but we didn't have the balefire.
We had this one. I don't think we had the other runes pieces, but we had this one.
This is the lantern for the
boat.
barge.
Yeah.
That little flickering green. Eerie swamp.
What did Nate bail on? I don't think he bailed on anything.
I used to do TV commercials.
Skeletor for Prez said he relates so hard to that midlife solution. That's cool. Nice lantern flicker. Yeah, we've really kind of perfected the LED situation.
This thing, how cool! This lantern is like I love this.
I think it's one of the best LEDs we've made.
Yeah,
like it's a
it
good
just
design.
looks kind of magical because this is sculpted by Nina, and just has that I don't know. It's just especially when we get the barge, we'll put that thing on there when it's like wanders through the water, especially on the water textured terrain tray, where it has like the little has the texture sort of flicker, the green flickers reflected on there. It just looks awesome.
Can you imagine like having like a ghost inn or a ghost hotel or something, and like the walls are just like this is what's lighting up like
walls, it'd be awesome.
Yeah.
This was speaking of LARPing, this was inspired by the LARP that I've been playing recently. Well, not recently because of the pandemic, but pre-pandemic. Magical. They have balefire. This is the balefire lantern. You can use a flickering green flame is a magical flame that drives off undead and whatever, balefire. So that was that's why. Because I was like, I don't want to make another. I wanted a lantern on the front of the boat, but I didn't want to. We already have a little lantern on a thing. I was like, we can't repeat the same thing, so it needs to have another reason. So it was like, ooh, it's magical. It's balefire. It's
Should
a green thing because it looked cool in real life with people walking around with a green lantern and over there.
Should we add that to the bestiary as like an item? We should add that to we should add that to the bestiary.
Well, that's why it's on the barge, right? So when you're going through, it drives off, it wards off the undead. It's like a turn.
Because we tried to, when we were doing the bestiary, we tried to think of every piece that was designed with like use like that
really
in mind.
good.
Yeah, the lantern completely slipped our minds.
Yeah.
We should add that.
Did we look at this guy last week?
The bone blue?
Grabby-
We put pictures of it in the
grabby
Kickstarter
hands?
update, but
Yeah.
is grabby hands the scientific name for the plant?
Yeah. Grab his hands.
Grabby hands.
That's from Kansas.
Grabby hands is from Kansas.
Yeah. What I think is going to be probably the most fun. Like, I don't think any player is going to be like, oh, I'm going to step on here and no. I think the play is you have the NPC in there, right? They're supposed to go find whatever, and they just get the glimpse of, they follow the trail, and it's like, oh wait, what's that? There's little Bobby, or the Countess is there, like. So then you have to figure out how to get them out without destroying them, and then it can be it's a fun physical like.
Or how cool would that be if that's like the BBE's like cocoon situation?
Like Darth Vader.
It opens up and suddenly they're now just like pulsing with like this like heightened power.
Welcome. I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, that would be really cool. I mean, there's a lot of fun little narrative things you can do where you open it up to reveal something, right? Or there's a crazy MacGuffin in there that they have to get, or whatever. Or some people are gonna do some wild stuff. They're gonna put it on the ceiling and do some like.
I think you just keep it hidden until it triggers. Yeah, this is probably something you drop on the field.
Yeah,
once,
they're walking
once
along, they don't see it, and then and you put their mini on there, and then you close it on their mini. That could be fun too.
People are asking for staff minis.
We've
wanted to for a while.
We have. I don't know if anybody's going to buy them.
It's a hard thing to justify. Like outside of you guys, like
Hero
who's going to
Forge. Hero Forge has ruined the need for PC minis. Between that and the fact that Reaper's made every like possible combination / WizKids has a huge line of there's so many PC minis out in the market. It's hard to justify trying to make PC minis. Like we have a hard time selling some of our minis anyway. Most of our minis anyway. It's like hard to
at this point
justify
it feels like the only like good way to guarantee there's going to be a market for like a mini that specific is if it's something like the Critical Role minis or like something where it's like this is a character in media that people know and love. Yeah. So.
But we'd love to do them. I'm just really wary. We have to be careful with our molds. Like
I'm really happy with how this piece came out because like
it's a cool.
It's one of the ones. It's one of the ones we were like working on last in Wildlands, and I was really worried that we weren't gonna get it to like work the right way. Like I was like, is the hinge thing actually gonna come out? And like it works. Like it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's gonna be. I don't know. You can also pop it off the.
It's not magnetic, right?
No, it has it'll have a accessory, anchor magnet. But you can pop the grabby hands off too and do something interesting with them, right? Like make I don't know. Lots of options.
Really want Dwarven Forge t-shirts. We got them coming. We just need to focus on other stuff first. I have no idea when we're gonna.
We were trying to do them for Gen Con, and then we didn't go to Gen Con. So I don't. They will. We may be doing them relatively. If nothing else, it'll be for the holidays. Christmas T-shirts for everybody. I think the only thing left was the other ruins piece. We got a full.
God, the ruins are coming out so good.
Oh yeah.
I guess you can just take it. It's right there.
Yeah, it's the closest it's ever been. Often it's a little. It's just annoyingly too far away. Like
having this over here means there's so much more room for like the few things that need to be over there.
We have this battle station. I want to like turn that way.
It's not even done yet. Seraphis, we just did the giveaway, yeah.
6 of clubs won again.
Yep, 6. I don't even know if he's here tonight. I think he's busy.
Oh, well then he definitely won.
Are you trying to show them? All right.
We're going to the battle station. Can you see? It's too dark.
Super out of focus. Oh, you can see my pale legs. That's great. Although I do have really nice calves. It's like the best part of my body, if I'm being real. I don't know why. Probably just because I'm... Well, I played tennis. Tennis probably helped.
Station. Look at that.
Yeah. Hey, this is what I've been working on recently. Well, one of the things I've been working on.
Looks like it's a battle station.
Don't try to get any beans off of this. This is just where the lights are on the grid. This is... The light board's right here, and that tells me which light is on which switch.
We're behind the curtain
Yeah, OTA After Dark. Nice games. Calf raise page. I don't... Oh, actually, no. I found out why my calves are, like, so busted.
Busted?
Yeah, like I've got, like, really hunky calves compared to the rest of my body. I couldn't figure out why. And
Is
I realized...
hunky good?
Yeah, people love big calves.
Okay.
They can't lie. So when I was little, we lived in my grandparents' basement, and it was like all cement with like no carpets or anything. So it was in Utah, so in the winter it gets super cold.
Ooh.
Usually it was really cold.
It sounds like my garage.
So I grew up walking on like the balls of my feet to keep as much of my feet off the ground as
so
possible.
it works all those up.
Yeah,
those
so
leg
I
muscles.
so I always and then in high school, whenever I would play drag rolls, like I had no problem walking in heels.
Yeah.
And it's weird. I'd hear everybody complain about like walking in heels.
You're
I'm like,
I
oh,
do
this
all the
is
time.
easy. Like I don't get it. And I realized, oh, the reason why my calves are so good and why I had no problem with heels
It's
is
from
that
walking on this
I grew up. I learned to walk like I
You
was
were
walking in
conditioned
heels.
to.
Yeah. So like because I still walk around on the balls of my feet most of the time.
Huh.
So I'm always like straining my calves for no reason.
That's why you have the squeaky shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always walk like I'm in heels.
I'm not. I have very hard time walking in heels. The toe thing.
Yeah.
Not so good.
Way to bury the lead there.
Well, this is
Look, man, I was very proud of figuring this out. This has plagued me for my entire life.
Huh.
I don't think you understand.
The Ruins Arch. How beautiful. Yeah, it does look kind of more yellow than it is, but I don't
The
know.
knot work on that is so good. Yeah, our lights are kind of warm today, but like
They're beautiful.
the knot work, the way they got
Michelle Magic.
the wear on that is so good.
Where? So speaking of Michelle Magic, was there anything else on it while? Oh, I forgot the whole read. Right, it's Deborah's and Dragons tonight. So we got. See, not quite wide. There.
Our first dragon.
Woo!
She did come out good though.
This is Vinkura, the Shadow Dragon. We have the tail broke, so we're looking into Tyler's looking into that. Why?
The tail broke?
Yeah.
How'd it break?
Tail. Well, it attaches to the foot to help hold that. Like the whole base
so
is a triangle.
The
Essentially.
connection.
And it snapped, which is weird because our 2 other samples that we have are fine, and this one did, so it's a little concerning. So.
You just need to figure out.
Yeah.
Did you
Or
put
she wants to be on
put
the
pressure
base.
on the other ones to see if it if you can
I
replicate
don't know.
it?
Tyler is on it. But anyway, here she is, the shadow dragon and all her. She was once a green dragon. Now, she's all anger.
She looks so. That's so good for her first dragon.
Yeah.
Like that's.
We had some trouble. Some of the spines gave gave factories a hard time in the molds and whatever. It's total. Was it Aerolostis, the old school D&D art, the psychedelic art? Feels like it's so cool.
Oh man.
Yeah.
The holes in the wings and all that.
Leathery.
Man, Rusted's so good on it.
He's done a few sculptings in his day, and Hamster with his
really
paint
shows.
that was able to be, factory did a really good job replicating his paint.
I just realized she has like claws on her elbow.
Oh yeah, who doesn't have elbow claws? It's a very important part of dragon culture. It's like when you go to the big dragon parties, you have to you put your elbow down and sit in your elbow claws.
They said dragon will not be in store. No, we're planning to sell her in the store, at least for the initial stock.
I don't know how many. I don't remember what the run is, but yeah, you'll see.
Restocking is going to be difficult, but
Well, and slow the way the boats are going
Yeah.
currently.
But there will be some in the initial store stock.
Oh, I have to get a razor. Hold. No, I don't think.
Get a razor.
Oh, to try and sort of jury rig these. See if I can get it close enough. So we have a treat. Turkish delight. No, it is.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Is it?
Oh yeah, it's dates and like confectionery sugar, and it's delightful, as the name would imply.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You know what it is? It's like, you're like, this is the closest they could come to candy in the olden days. That's.
What does that mean? They had candy. Like.
No.
They
did not. All they had was Turkish delight. It's good. It's like if you had never had anything sweet before, you're like, oh wow, this is quite marvelous. I like it. Anyway, we have Reliquaries, our next Kickstarter, which we are launching in 5 weeks from today, November 3rd.
Oh God. Hopefully,
conceptually. Actually, I think we sort of officially announced it, so yeah, it's happening. It's on. We're making sculpted dice holders to display your dice. Last week on the Anvil, we showed the elven pieces in progress.
We had that unpainted casting of the.
Yes, we have some more. So we're going to show the whole thing. Michelle gave a big thumbs up to show the process on the elven stuff. So we have these are. It's going to be really hard to see because they're the white castings and they're not fully held together. So it might probably you'll get an idea.
Yeah, these are castings that we did in house so that we can figure out the paint and all that. So they aren't dwarvenite.
Well, and Michelle did some really nice castings in gray resin, but Hamster's painting those. So then these are castings that Miles did. So this is what we looked at yesterday.
Or last week?
Oh, wow. No, yesterday in dev meeting.
Oh, so, you're showing all of it. Okay.
Oh, yeah, no, we're going all in. We're here. Okay, so now hang on. Let me get let's see. I got a little bit of light on the
let's
white.
stop this down a bit. Yeah.
Stop that down and see what happens. Go all the way.
Let's go all the way.
Well, maybe that's too much of the way. Hold on. All right, and I can turn this. Let me turn that from light down.
It's showing up okay. Yeah, it is really hard when they're all white. Let's see. Yeah. Well, people are excited though.
Okay, so here's
the gray's reading really well.
Hang on, let's go this way. Okay, so what we got going on. So this was the exciting thing. We got the first time we had all the pieces in one place, one thing. We're like, okay, great. And we discovered a bunch of things. So first of all, this little guy, the throne. First of all, such a cool design. Let me pull.
Can we get in closer?
Yeah. It's also kind of a crime to show this as the first one because you can't see all the. Oh no, this thing isn't knocked out. But I don't know. You get the. Let me look at it. Let's see one that has all the things.
Work in progress. Early castings.
Yeah. Well, this is sort of part of the fun of all of it, right? So. I don't know if you can see the amount of detail. You're going to stop down one more notch.
Yeah.
Just the amount of detail that Michelle has managed to get in here is just absolutely outrageous. And these are a little catawonkus right now. Like they're not quite, like it's all going to get sorted out. Like we jammed it together as quickly as we could to get the thing out. But it's like, super cool, super detailed, tiny engravings. Like this is the classic Michelle, like ridiculous sculpting. It's like there's the little textures inside these things. They're lightly inspired by fiddlehead ferns, but it's all to go with the Callantyr architecture, right? Same folks that built these. But what we're discovered is it's a little tight. This doesn't have an insert in there, but it's a little tight on the upward side. Is like there you go, popping that thing off. Like when you get a dispel
modularity,
dice in there, it's just a tiny they're just pushing the envelope just a little too big. You can get pretty much any normal die gets in there no problem. Once again, I don't have an insert in there, but you can approximate. Yeah, you can get a normal die in there, but Dispel doesn't quite fit in there. And they were kind of running into each other a little on the thing. So we were super excited. Oh, finally have all the Elven. It's done. It's here. It's great. And then problem number one is like, all right. So Michelle's like, no problem. I'm going to go back. I'll go and adjust those out. Build a couple more millimeters. But this is all analog, right? So she's got to basically tear open the skull, pull these things back a little bit, move them around so that it'll all fit or whatever. So that's, so challenge number one, she's got to like resize that. And the indicator, there's a little indicator on the front of all of the pieces. You can't see it so
you can
much,
make it out. I'm looking on the screen. You can make that out.
Thing, right? So that is off. It's off center by one little spickle. Like it should line up with this this line here, and it's off there by one. Whatever. So anyway, we're gonna have a little the front indicator. You'll find out what that's for at some point. And whatever. But this is where it's going, right? You can see the process. See this thing is gonna be like, how cool is that? Plus, just like using it as an objective or a decoration in your build or whatever. I don't know. Like these things are. And it feels so different from everything else, right? It doesn't feel like Dwarven, it doesn't feel like Elemental or the other two themes. Like it's, and it's super sturdy here. I should have.
And so the point is, they're going to have paint schemes that let them blend in with the runes from Wildlands.
It's going to be in this, somewhat in this scheme, but more pristine.
Yeah. Like these are like the sacred places of that. Right. Society.
This is the thing you could build. Yeah. Oh, I forgot. I have to get. Well, I'll get in a sec. The remind me to get the dais to show the. They look really well. Dais. Okay, so that was challenge number one. So then, challenge number two. We'll bring this back in here. We go to the pedestal. So that was the throne sculpt. This is the pedestal sculpt. So this guy. Now we can stop back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
I think there's a little bit of a difference on the.
And you can see she put green stuff on this one to fill in a couple of the bubbles and whatnot. So look at the cool profile on this thing.
Yeah.
Same, like all that super detailed textures. There's this knot work around the basket, whatever. It's like, very, very, very. Just love the flow on this thing. Right, and then wait till we get some paint job on there. Super excited. It's looking good. Can we get big dice in there? No problem.
The pedestals are so much easier to fit large dice in because the way they work is like
it's like
holding
perfect.
It up in the open.
How does it work with the flat die holder? Wait, what? All right, well, how about the miniature holder? Oh. So challenge number two was, oh no, it doesn't fit the that 38 millimeter circle. So that's what Michelle is next wrestling with is, how do you take this really intricate, beautiful analog once again, right? This is not, it's not 3D, it's analog, it's a physical sculpt. You got to then go in and adjust, like figure out how to knock this back without ruining the profile. And it's like, so that's piece of the process number two. God, man, these are so. I'm just like, I'm so happy with how unique each theme looks. Compared, like you put the whole lineup together, and like each one is sitting in its own safe space. Right. So that's number two. She's got cut out for her. And look at these. Just all the little touches all up along the. I think it's gonna be
all that knot work is phenomenal.
It's not bad. It says without an insert in, but you can see like it just look at that glistening with. What's a dispel die? Dispel dice die? What do you say? I don't know.
It's one of them. So die.
Is it a dispel die? It's if the company's
the company's dispel die, so be a dispel dice
die.
Woof.
It's just anyway.
It's killing you not knowing what all the themes will be. Well, you just have to hang on until we're ready to tell you what the other ones are.
5 weeks. So then we got. This is the the hero.
Stop him back down.
Right, beautiful. Don't ignore the sides. I threw that on a belt sander because it wouldn't fit in the hole because it warped. This one warped a little in casting. It'd be beautiful and great and flawless and sound something like this, right? But with the basket and whatnot. Oh, that's what I was going to get the thing for. So hold tight for you can see the paint scheme, and then see if you can guess what the challenge on this guy is going to be.
Yeah, what do you guys think the challenge would be? Nice if it doubled as a trackball and mouse. You know what? I'm sure somebody here is going to mod it to do just that. These reliquaries are made to have all sorts of uses, and I'm sure somebody is going to pop that out. Mini. Wonder what the undead theme will look like. Oh, and that's if we have an undead theme. You know. Let's see. I feel like it wouldn't be a hard mod to do. Probably not. Oh, I mean, so the hero pieces are the ones that are going to have LEDs, so you would have to do something about that.
So this is going to have an RGB LED under here that's going to make really cool uplight for the. Let's get a little wider. Right, so there'll be when your die is on there, you'll have like a neat. That light will come up and hit the die and make it all, especially the translucent one, will make it extra sparkly and cool. Check this out though. This is super exciting. All right. This is the dais from Wildlands that Michelle also sculpted, and like, how cool is that, right? You don't have to like a spaceship. It's like as good as it. It's gonna be awesome. I'm gonna put this thing over there, and imagine a basket whipper. But here's the thing. You ready for it? I mean, Anyway, Tyler. Hamster's working on the paint scheme right now. We're looking for something to give it needs a little zhuzh, right? It needs a little pop, like something to, like, it needs something, a highlight that makes you go, ooh, there's some magic there. Yeah. So, here's the rub. Now let's see if I can set this all up with, let's see.
Put the Sorrow Nest on it, and it could be an alien birthing pod.
There's definitely, right, the navigator thing from Alien, the Giger design. That's
a lot of people are saying they're like, this looks like an HR Giger design.
Yeah, there's some, Michelle likes the dark weird stuff. Like there's definitely, she's got some Giger in her.
I am saying, what if you put some gold on it?
Yeah, we may gold. We'll see where.
God, I kind of feel like silver would.
Man, she can paint that, Amy.
Yeah, she really can. She's done a lot of really good custom jobs.
Yes, darn it. I'm gonna try and get these
prototypes.
Dispel dice.
Where's the Burroughs reliquaries?
Who said that?
Tellurian.
Amazing.
Rabbit's waiting for us to do the Lego morph. Well, he's not here tonight, I don't think, but he keeps, ever since we revealed it, he's like,
I'll wait for the rabbit.
As long as there's rabbit reliquaries, I'm in, so.
Well, spoiler alert, there are no rabbit reliquaries.
You can't just drop information like that.
So here's the thing. When you get the whole thing out as the array, look at here. There's the hero, there's an awkwardness between the relationship between these and the hero. There's dead space, like the horizontal presence. This hero doesn't have the horizontal presence in the array that the other ones do, right? I'll stand alone when you're doing its thing and it's a centerpiece on there and it's just the cool spaceship, whatever, it totally works. When you're trying to work it in the array, and you can kind of like go sideways and it does the thing, but then it's all sort of weirdly asymmetrical. And what do you do with these guys? Or does everybody go sideways as a thing? And whatnot. So, Michelle, being the fearless warrior that she is going to add to it, right? So we can give it more horizontal presence, right? So it's boom, it has it's going to have a silhouette that's like oof, and it will flow from here to here and be a thing. So we have a picture that she just put up at like 9 a.m. this morning which is that. So she's literally cut out pieces of paper, right, to put them on to show the silhouette. So we're gonna have like, those, and they'll be up. Do we have the side?
Yes.
Side angle, right? So they're up front, so they won't break the. You'll still have that beautiful, the Mystic Crescent silhouette, right? So they'll be up there, so it'll kind of be interesting shape there, but it'll give it that horizontal presence when it's in the array, and I think it's gonna also look badass when you put it on the, wherever you put it. If you put it as a MacGuffin in your build or whatever, standalone, it's gonna give it that extra flying power. And then we'll see what happens. So she's got to figure out how to. Oh, and look at that! You see the green stuff on there where the master cracked.
Right.
She baked it.
It broke, and she had to. Yeah.
No, it's really it's an adventure. So she's got a whole so we went from wow, Elvin is done to she's got challenges now in all 3 of these pieces. This is like we're at like challenge 10. Like this is like we've gone. This has been like a month or 2 of this, and now it's like, oh, we got to the finish line. Nope, moving the finish line.
Well, it's wild because initially this hero sculpt didn't even have the base. Like it was.
Oh right.
It was just the arch.
First, it was just the base. The first it was. We have it somewhere, right? First, it was just the upper portion. Then it got the extended base, and now it's getting the wings.
Yeah.
So it's like slowly. It's like when you build additions to your house. Over time. You're back to life.
It's the scale creep, right?
Yeah. So it had initially it didn't have this base, and then we got the base, and now it's getting wings and ever so growing and evolving, and also part of the process. Like it's not an A to B. We don't just go a straight line. So it's a weaving, dodging thing, and it kind of all has to play together in one big thing. But that's also one of the amazing things about Michelle and our whole team is this sort of the fearlessness to just keep going back into the breach. It's like, oh, you think you've won this battle, but no, wait, there's still room to make it better. Like we got to keep pushing, keep making, keep going. We can keep until we ship. Really, I was gonna say until we launch, but no, it's that we're still tweaking Wildlands stuff to make it better up until.
I guarantee, like when we're putting these through production, factory's gonna be like, oh, we actually need to slightly adjust like this thing, and we have to send it back and tweak it. Stuff like that always happens.
Yeah. So it is an ongoing thing, but it's all these little details that are just constantly vexing us.
Michelle is saying she's really happy to add the base because she wanted to do the relief scenes. I have a hard time looking at this and imagining it not having that base there.
It was dying for it, right? And this is like the Michelle special. Those just tiny.
It's one of her
micro seeds. Like it's unbelievable.
It's one of those things that like is just one of her like huge strengths. Like if you look at the stuff she did as Lady Sable, she made all those like 1/2 inch tall by like an 1/8 inch wide like drawings, and you could like little engravings to put on walls. And that's the thing. Like when she was like I was like, I don't know, what are we gonna do in the base? We think she's like, no, she's like, I've got the plan. She had that like the spark. She was like, no, this is it. I've been like waiting. She's been waiting for years for this thing. Like let's do it. To imagine, Michelle, how long did it take you to do all of it? Like to work that small and all these different murals? Because like that looks painstakingly difficult to me.
It's painstaking. It hurts.
Love the carvings. More of that in cities too, please.
Yeah.
Just do like mural walls.
So we will next week. We'll show you where the how these things are evolving, where we're at.
Yeah.
We have new bases arriving tomorrow from Talon and Claw.
Yeah, all the different designs to see what's going to work best for the base.
And we have what was the other neat thing that we had coming?
I guess 2 weeks. We won't be showing it next week.
Right. Did we announce that on the thing? We didn't.
Earlier today we said, we should say it again now for people who weren't here at the beginning. Next week is a very busy filming week, so we think we're going to be filming when On the Anvil normally happens. So we're just going to go ahead and say no On the Anvil next week to be safe.
Off the Anvil.
Yeah, we're off the Anvil next week. Just as we're in the final month before we set this thing live, so we're busy with a lot of crunching on all this stuff to get this ready for the Kickstarter. So we might not be streaming every week until launch. But then at launch, we're going to have a lot of streams. So
Yes. A lot.
Yeah, a lot.
We have some really fun lineup, like a lot of fun guests.
I'm really excited with the way it's coming together.
Yeah.
We've got it's going to be different than it was for Wildlands, but it's still that kind of daily stream energy.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited for
And we will, so when we're back in 2 weeks, we'll be able to show you the progress. I bet we will have painted up, you'll be able to see painted Elvin in 2 weeks. See how Michelle has tackled these challenges, and see where it goes. And because also, the other fun thing is like she did a thing in paper and put it on there, but once you start going in 3 dimensions, suddenly it's like, oh wait, that thing that worked on that little piece of paper maybe doesn't work in the whatever, and then it evolves in this, and it's it is a continuing. It's just like a D&D adventure. You're like, oh, we're gonna walk to the dungeon and then we're going for things, but you're like, you don't just get to the dungeon. There's bandits on the road, and then there's a trap, and there's an old hermit, and someone's selling potions, and there's you're just like, you finally get there, and it was not what you expected.
Everybody's clapping for Michelle in chat.
Oh, she's such a champ. We really have such a dedicated, talented, hardworking team. It's like nothing else. Everybody's striving so hard to make things as good as possible within the parameters. Hell, forget the parameters, like just period. And then we're like, we hit the parameter, we hit the wall of parameters, but it's really, we are blessed to have just a magnificent team. And we've really found, I think one of the things that's happened as a result of this pandemic is we're having so many more regular video meetings. Maybe you would say too many video meetings, but it's helped. I think the people like Michelle and Eli that are remote, like they're now like really linked into the mothership because we're on Slack at least 3 days a week, if not 5 days a week.
I think at least part of it too is this is a very good way to distract ourselves from the from the pandemic as well.
Well, yeah. If you can, the world's burning. You can be like, well, at least in this little village here, we are making some magic, and we can just
at least we have control of this, and then the master breaks, and we have to.
But then even when the master breaks, it's like we still have control in solving it. Michelle's like, all right, she rolls up her sleeves and she gets out the green stuff, and she's like, I'm going to patch this up, and we'll do it. It's the problems we're creating and solving our own problems within this sphere, and trying to it's just like a D&D game or a D&D world, right? You're making this fun world where you can have control in this domain, and you can for those few hours you're like, okay, here we are, and we can make this a place that we want to be.
Capel was wondering if we're doing Wildlands unboxing soon. Do we know when we're gonna have sets here to do unboxings?
We were,
because they should be air shipping them soon, right?
Yeah, they were trying to get everything out onto the boat, and then, but I see no reason why they wouldn't be shipping them in the immediate future. Yeah,
so we should be like
probably the
usually,
next couple weeks.
Usually, what happens is they ship the stuff out that we need to send to people, and then while that's on the water, they'll airship us the stuff to unbox.
Well, because it takes 6 weeks to get here, and then at least another week to get to the warehouse, and then a week for the warehouse to receive and inventory and everything. So it's like they're like the airship. It takes 2 days. So we will have unboxings of the sets out before the sets get to you. Yes. What would you guys like to see us unbox? Should we do the pledges?
I feel like the pledges make the most sense, right?
Yeah. They I put a couple of unboxing photos in the the factory unboxed some of the stuff and took photos of it. Yeah. So not quite the same, but put a couple of those in the update.
It's not the same as me getting to open it, but
no, it is fun. It's fun to see it again, new, like out of the experience. Like, wow, this is what people are gonna get. This is like, it's even though like I've at this point touched almost every single piece painted. I've touched all the pieces, final versions of all the pieces unpainted, and then almost all of them painted. But it's still not the same as like pulling it out of the box of the wrapper and be like, oh wow, this is like I'm gonna build with this, and having multiples. Like we basically have 1 or 2 of everything. We don't have enough to like build like.
Got 2 shadow dragons.
We only have 1 painted one. Yeah.
Yeah, we only have 1. That's fine. We only have 1 and the tail broke. No. Heart of the Wild. So I think with Heart of the... So should we do like all the heart sets?
What do we have for questions? We should probably open all the pledges, including the hearts, the pseudo pledges. Do we have any questions before we get out of here? It's already 9 o'clock. Jeez.
I think that was the main thing. Oh, I guess this has been a fairly frequent question, so in case somebody missed it when I answered it on Discord and stuff, if you backed at Heart of the Wild or Untamed, I believe, since those are just made up of the smaller pledges,
you'll get if you backed Untamed, you'll get the Mega, you'll get Titan's Tooth Glade, and if you backed Heart of, you'll get the Forest. Unless you emailed us and said, hey, I want one big shipment.
Yeah. So if you're wondering about that, that is how they're being shipped, to our knowledge.
But if you got the dice that go with the pledges, I don't know how the dice are working. That was somebody was asking that before, right? Like, I know the dice only pledges will ship, but I don't know if you got extra dice, maybe those will also ship. And then if you got dice I don't know how they go with the pledges. I think there was like a bundle that came with the pledges, like stretch goals and dice and whatever. I don't know. We will find out.
For cities, I want so badly to make it simpler.
Here's the good news, Chris. It'd be hard to make it more complicated.
Yeah.
So I think anything we do.
I think that's the thing. Is like with Wildlands, we were like, oh, we want to do this simpler thing, but then just like the nature of the way Wildlands works in terms of biomes, the way the pieces work, like it was just so much harder to like.
Yeah, it was an organic romp through the wilderness.
Because that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
It's all organic, so it's so much harder to break it into. Yeah. The nature of nature. It's probably because of the overlapping biomes.
The nature of
as far as like, because that's as far as encounters go.
Let's get through reliquaries. And then
someone's
we can
wondering,
panic about the city.
Will forest floors be in the shipment?
I believe so, based on the fact that there was an unboxing picture of them.
Okay.
The forest trails. I don't know about the clearing. The one that was the forest floors. There is in the update. There is a link that says for the full list of sets that will be included, click here, and that will have the full list of sets that will be included. I included that link twice in there, so you can find it.
Do you know?
And we also included international shipping this time. Sorry, Dice.
Do we know Naomi Novik? Do you know her?
I feel like I should.
DW is asking if we can do an interview with her. I'm not familiar with her. I'd have to look into it, but we like talking to new people. It might need to wait until after. Oh, Naomi Novik was in Dwarven Forge Kickstarter chats a few times, so I guess she's backed and been like you're talking on the comment page. So you're familiar with the name. I'm not, but I also haven't been here that long.
I don't know why I have all these names in my head.
It's fair. We have to keep track of a lot of people.
Well, how about for December?
She's an author apparently. And for December, it'd probably have to be after Reliquaries at this point, just because we're loading up.
An absolutely packed slate. In Reliquaries.
Let's see.
Yeah, I mean that's a question. Like, if I'm curious if people like interview episodes.
There were a lot of people who were saying after the interview with Deb ended, a lot of people were saying that was like probably our best one, so that was exciting.
Well, she's amazing.
It's always cool when we get to the point where like when you find that thing where it's like, okay, this is where this person's like passions lie, and then you just like talk about that and you like let that go. Like that stuff's always so cool. Let's see.
Any other questions before we call it a night?
Isn't this all on the Kickstarter update? I think most of it is. Yeah.
Yeah. We try to make those Kickstarter updates have as much information as possible to get you as much information as possible. They take a surprisingly large amount of time to get it all together. Trying to make sure we can answer as many questions as possible with what's in the update, and let you know what's happening, and have as many pictures of all the new stuff and.
Ryan is asking if there's any difference to splitting up delivery. Did I miss something or hear something wrong? So basically, in order to get people their stuff like as quickly as possible, we are shipping it out as soon as we have enough to fill a container. We're getting it sent over and shipping it out to people. But if you want, we can hold on to it at the warehouse and only ship it once you've got all your stuff. And if you want that, you can email customer service and ask, and they'll just hold on to it and send it all to you at once.
Whatever's easier for you.
Yeah. There's not any extra charges or anything associated with it. Don't worry about that. You're not going to have to pay more for more shippings or anything. That includes international backers as well, right? Like we're handling all of that. Like,
yes, because there's a container going to Europe that's leaving shortly, and that'll be followed by New Zealand and Australia and Asia. I think that's all forest stuff, and then you sort of keep doing the cycle. We'll do this cycle thrice.
Yeah.
Oh, and we got the light puck today, the latest, like a full working sample of the light puck
And it seems like it's
with
going.
a final factory finish. Like Tyler said, it worked.
Yeah.
I know we haven't tested it at length, but he turned it on and it worked, and lights came on, and so like that's a good sign. It's been chip shortages and everything. Like we're going through those Pixel Dice folks. I'm telling them they've been really struggling through this on a 1,000-fold.
I believe.
Like
Yeah,
we were just trying to do one thing. They were trying to do all this micro stuff in a die, and like
Yeah, because we were talking to them, and it's
yes,
because literally their entire product relies on those chips.
yes,
And it's
addressable LEDs and things. Yeah, it's really.
We're
We're gonna have. They're gonna bring a sample over in a couple of weeks, so we can shoot with a pixel die in a reliquary, which would be neat.
It really is wild. From we tried to account for like all the stuff all the challenges we thought the pandemic would bring, and then just like the shipping crisis is so much worse than anybody thought it would be.
Oh, I mean,
like,
it just all goes in forever. But we're chugging ahead. We're keeping you guys updated. We're really grateful for all the support and patience through it, and stuff is moving. Hopefully, this boat leaves on Saturday with our stuff on it, and we'll see.
Yeah, hopefully, if it doesn't get bumped, then most likely people will have some of their stuff by Christmas, which is fantastic.
It would be the dream.
Like if as long as it doesn't get held up somewhere, as long as we don't get bumped off this boat. But like, man.
Okay, we'll see. We will keep you posted as soon as we know what it is.
Yeah.
Any other final questions, or should we get out of here and call it night?
Let's see.
We got one time for one more. If there's a wait. Ooh. Do we have
ETA on second container? Well, they're making the stuff for the second
no.
container now, right? What's up?
I thought it was something I could show. It's Hamster posted a paint job.
Is it for something we haven't shown them yet?
Yeah, it's bonkers.
Okay.
It's really good. I was gonna
Sorry,
see if
guys,
we could
maybe-
show. I thought we had new.
Maybe
I was gonna show breaking news, but it's
maybe in 2 weeks. Who knows? I don't know what it is.
yeah.
The stuff that we have left is gonna blow their minds, I think.
It's all gonna. There's something hopefully for everybody. We have a nice wide range of interesting stuff.
Everybody's shouting at us to show it.
All the sculptors.
We
found
got
stuff that everybody could resonate with. That's sort of in their sweet spot. Michelle with all of her crazy details.
You got 2 new pieces today, so like
Yeah,
you'll be all right.
And sort of plans of what's happening.
You
with
better
this.
believe though, like the next time we're on the air, we're gonna be 3 weeks away from launch.
Jeez Louise.
So we're kind of gonna be I think we're gonna be showing you basically everything like in the last couple of weeks.
We'll show another theme
Yeah, we gotta save some stuff for the last couple streams, you know.
I mean we're not being like this stuff's not ready. Like we don't have literally we're showing you like unpainted castings that are not staying together of elf stuff that's got to change. Like we got a long. It's we'll get there as quickly as we can. But that's
Chuck
also part
is,
of the fun of this show.
Chuck is rubbing
Chuck.
it in the chat. He's like, "Oh yeah, that thing that you're talking about looks sick."
It does.
Yeah.
Don't be mean, Chuck. Okay. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Gentlemen, Wake, I'll message you after this.
Hey, Omar.
Yeah.
And then till then, stay safe. Be good to each other.
Yeah.
Stay in
Please
school.
take care of yourself. Especially going into the holidays, like because Halloween counts as holiday season.
Oh,
yeah.
The high holiday. What it is like.
Yeah.
All right. But thank you, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks to Deborah and Woll for hanging out with us and telling us their secrets of DMing. And once again, thank you, everybody, for all your support. We'll see you in 2 weeks. We'll see what Michelle does in Elf World.
Yeah, we should be able to. Yeah, I guess that is like we should have all that stuff to show them by the time.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
That's awesome. All right, bye guys.
Bye.